Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the McDonCast, the funnest podcast in town, the only podcast around, and it is the first podcast ever recorded in 2024.
That's true. Out of every podcast.
No one else recorded any podcast today.
No, they
We're
took the day off.
They can't do it. It's illegal for anyone other than us to do it.
If you don't know, if you don't have a podcast, which there are a few people who don't, we have a collective text
What do you mean?
chain.
No one else? We're the only podcast.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that part of the lore. So, well, then it makes it impossible for anyone else to record a podcast today.
Yeah, it's illegal. Can't do it.
Thank God we got around that legal loophole.
Good thing we somehow got the exclusive rights to do podcasts, so no one else can do them. Seems like it could potentially be a very lucrative market. That's very
it's weird
easy
that
to get into.
we knew what a podcast was, even though no one else had ever done that before.
And
it was
named
also weird
it
that
something.
It was outlined legally that no one could do it.
It's also weird that we named ours the McDonCast, which is like a pun of the word podcast, but we didn't know what a podcast was yet because we were inventing it.
Well, Apple invented the podcast. They invented the word.
No.
They just didn't do anything with it.
No, they didn't.
Oh, is that not part of it?
No, we did the first
Okay.
podcast.
Anyway,
ever.
Happy New Year, everybody. It's 2024. A bright, fresh new year full of possibilities. And what better way to spend the first episode of the year than talking about last year? So before we move on and talk about all the cool, fun new movies and games and shows coming in the next 12 months, we got to go back and decide what was the best, what was the worst, what was the most mediocre, what made the most money.
And who is going to win all of the awards?
Oh my gosh.
This is also an award show now.
Yes, it is. But before we get to that, Sam, let's go over some box office. What were the hits? What were the misses? What is the stuff that just kind of scraped by? So first off, overall box office was up to $9 billion here in the domestic market, U.S. and Canada.
That's not very good.
That was actually above what people thought it would be because there was such a lack of tentpoles releasing in Q4 after the strikes.
Yeah, that's still pretty bad, though.
Luckily, some moderate performing Christmas films kind of lifted us up to the 9 billion mark. So we are up from last year, which I think was about like 8.8. We're still like multiple $1 billion below where we were pre-COVID. So
yeah, still have not fully
we're up,
recovered.
but we're not all the way up. And at this rate, I don't think we're ever going to be all the way up. Ever reach 2019 or 2018
Not until
levels.
all the streaming services collapse.
And who knows when that's going to be. Universal, out of all the studios, was the big winner this year. 1.93 billion in domestic ticket revenue in 2023, up 18% from last year. Biggest hits were Mario, which did 574 million. Oppenheimer did 326. And FNAF did 137.2 million here in the domestic market.
That's, a couple years ago, 1.9 billion would have been like a movie they made.
Well, this is just domestic. We'll get to international numbers later, but
No, but still, like
either way, Universal would be number
yeah.
one. Disney had a record low year, 1.89 billion in grosses. That's down 2% from last year. So last year wasn't even great for them, but this is way worse. And we'll talk about some of the particular individual.
It's very obvious why this year was.
We'll
so
get
bad.
into even more detail on just the absolute dumpster fire year Disney had. But yeah, they had Ant-Man 3 underperformed, 214 million. The Marvels obviously underperformed, 84.4, and of course Indy 5 underperformed, 174.4, lowest grossing movie in the Indiana Jones franchise and the lowest grossing movie in the MCU.
And the most expensive movie in the Indiana Jones franchise.
Warner came in third. Warner's came in third place and had almost nothing but bobs this year, but still managed to be up a whopping 50% from last year.
Yeah, Barbie was just a titan.
So as much as they haven't done well this year, last year was so much worse that this year was still way better.
Well, again, I think it is a testament to how
obviously
dominating Barbie was.
Obviously, Barbie 636.2 just in the domestic market. We'll get to international numbers later. That helped counteract just the dumpster fire performances that were The Flash, Shazam 2, and Aquaman 2. And there was a report from Deadline the other day that Warner's, the studio, spent 1.1 billion marketing just the DC movies from this last year.
That's really unfortunate.
So between those four movies, $1.1 billion in marketing.
One of them was okay.
I would say The Flash probably got the bulk of that. that marketing campaign
Yeah, it
was
was huge.
so weird and big.
And they
And
did it
just-
like several times.
Yeah, because they stopped and started.
Mm-hmm.
Blue Beetle probably got like the pocket change from that. That didn't get any marketing, and really Aquaman 2 didn't a
Did
lot
Blue
either.
Beetle even get a trailer?
Yeah, Blue Beetle had several trailers.
But like, does it have anything more than that?
Had a couple of TV spots.
I don't think- I
but
think
no,
other than
there
the-
was no like. It was also during the strike, so there wasn't like the cast going out. But no, there was.
I'm pretty
like,
sure they
no-
only got the one poster too. I think I only ever saw that one the one
just the bug
with the scarab on it. Yeah,
I think I saw a later one that was like him in the suit. That was it.
yeah.
Oh no, they had the later one where it was like it was. I can show it to you later, but no, there were 2 posters.
I know that they made one like after the movie came out that was like the cover art for it, but I don't know if they made another poster.
Okay, so Sam, internationally, we're going to talk about the 10 biggest hits of the year. This is by profitability. So if you want to just do like net grosses, we can do that. I can pull that up real quick. So in terms of top 10 domestically for the year, Taylor Swift, number 10, 179 million.
Yeah, I believe that.
Sound of Freedom, number 9,
I
184.
forgot how weirdly successful, like how long the legs were for that.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was gonna be a flash in the pan, kind of like random, like one off, like what even is happening right now. No, that movie lasted for a while.
John Wick Chapter 4, 187
That movie was
million
good.
at number 8. Ant-Man 3 still managed to come in at number 7, 214 million.
Wow. Okay, so you know how bad of a year it was if Ant-Man 3 came in at like in the top 10.
This is just domestically. The Little Mermaid came in at number 6, 298 million. Oppenheimer at number 5, 326 million. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 came in at number 4 for 358 million. Spider-Verse number 2 at 381. Mario was number 2 at 574, and Barbie number 1, 636. Internationally, Mission Impossible did over 500 million. That was number 10. Then it was Little Mermaid. Then it was a couple of Chinese films, Wandering Earth 2 and Full River Red. Spider-Verse came in at number 6, about 690. Fast X came in at number 5 for international.
Yeah,
gross,
I believe that.
714. Guardians of the Galaxy 3, number 4, 845. Oppenheimer did 955 million worldwide, despite being a 3-hour R-rated biopic drama.
And it still hasn't released in Japan yet.
Mario Brothers, 1.3 billion at number 2, and of course Barbie, number 1, 1.4 billion. Now, if we're going to talk about profitability, that's a whole other thing because it's quite a different list.
Yeah, not every movie costs the same to make.
So, number 10, by the way, we're not counting the Chinese movies because I don't know.
Because we don't really
who
know.
even knows. They
Yeah.
don't even release outside of China, really. So I don't even want to deal with any of that. So this is just movies we have the math on. Transformers, Rise of the Beasts came in at number 10, budget of $200 million, gross of $437 million, made a slight profits. However, it is the lowest performing movie in the Transformers franchise. But a big part of this is merch sales, selling all the Transformers.
Yeah, they sold a lot of
toys.
Optimus Primes.
So that's obviously the main purpose
Although,
of this. So I think
did
if you
they-
factor that in, I think
How much
it does
did
well.
Hasbro's like Transformers division make this year?
Who knows,
It probably
but-
wasn't a lot.
This definitely boosted it, though. I think enough.
I don't know though.
We're
Like-
not real tied in with what toys are doing well, so I don't really
Okay,
know.
but like the Barbie movie boosted Barbie sales a ton.
Yeah.
Everyone forgot about this Transformers movie the day it came out.
I heard, there was some level of interest in this for about a month.
No, there was interest for like a weekend, and then
I
everyone
remember
forgot.
people being like pretty okay with this movie.
I remember not a single person seeing this or
Well,
remembering it came out.
I've met several that have, so. Yeah, so moderate profit there. Number 9, Meg 2, The Trench. Budget of $139 million. Gross $394 million worldwide.
Wow.
Sam, the international box office gross, so outside of the US and Canada, accounted for $312.4 million of the movie this movie.
Yeah,
the
because
money.
it was made for China, so that makes sense.
So yeah, about $80 million came from here. The whole rest of it overseas.
Yeah, it is a movie that like pretends to be like it's made for a Chinese audience. Like the
Yeah.
main like love interest is like super famous there. I'm pretty sure this one actually takes place in China. The first one did not.
This
Yeah, that's just that's the demographic that they made it for. Like, obviously, it's gonna make more money there.
but this did not do as much as the first movie. The first movie did 530 million worldwide. So I don't know if we'll get a Meg 3.
Probably because the Meg 2, like that difference in like earnings is probably the Americans who like
Just
watched the
stopped
first
caring.
one, and then in the second one they just didn't come back.
Now,
Like,
there
just
is
didn't care.
plenty of source material because the Meg is a book series with about 25 entries.
How do you write 25 books about that? What?
Did you know it was a book series?
No. How is there more than 10 pages of material for that concept?
So let's see. The Meg series has 7 books.
That's 7 more than I would imagine there is enough material.
Oh no,
for.
8. Sorry, 8 if you include the original. The next one comes out next year.
What? Huh? Is it the same shark every time?
No,
is he
it's
like
different shark. Remember in the first movie, it's 2 sharks.
Yeah, but like that was already stupid, and it was just one movie.
Well, there's 2 more sharks in this new one. So I'm guessing it's just like 2 sharks every time.
That's dumb.
So that's like 16.
How have they
Megs.
not gotten good at killing them yet?
Well, I mean, maybe they do it a little faster by the 5th one.
Like, did they? Would you not just be like,
I
all
know
right,
there's, like-
make a big harpoon?
I know
we got
there's
another
like
one.
a bunch of prehistoric dinosaurs and stuff in the Meg 2.
Yeah, but there's not that many
So
prehistoric dinosaurs.
it's not just the Megs. Like there's more stuff as they
Yes,
go.
but the other stuff is not going to be as like the Meg is famous because it's huge. It's like bigger than like a whale.
yeah,
Like other prehistoric predator fish are not that big. So like,
well, it's not just
what
fish,
makes
it's
them
like
scary?
dinosaur. It's like little dinosaur creatures that like go on the land and attack people.
So it's just Jurassic Park.
Yeah, but with sharks.
But
too.
we already have Jurassic Park books that are
Yeah,
like,
but this
good,
one is Jason
actually.
Statham and he's got a jet ski and like a harpoon or something and he's blowing stuff up.
Was he in the? Was
It's diminishing returns. It's not growing. I don't know. They're not going to do any more of these.
Is it like
or if they do, they
Animorphs?
might do like a spin-off TV show, something that they could do on the cheap.
All right, whatever. What's next?
Number 8, Elemental, budget of $200 million, did $486 million worldwide. It had the lowest opening weekend ever for a Pixar movie.
Yeah, was
But
very-
it held really strong week to week. It had good word of mouth. It kind of just let it leg out over the course of the summer, and it
it was
made
still
a
very
decent amount of money.
not very interesting in my opinion.
Yeah, a little bit forgettable. Not one of the best movies Pixar's made. I think
Yeah.
a big problem with the Pixar stuff at the box office is that so much of it went to streaming. Even the ones when they didn't need to, they kept putting them direct to streaming.
Yeah, I was dumb.
And it really just killed audience interest because we can see from other stuff this year that other animated movies were still able to draw an audience to the theaters. So I
Yeah.
don't think it's a lack of like parents and kids like wanting to go out to the theater. I just think they've been kind of just trained to sit there and wait for it to come to Disney
Yeah.
Plus. Number 7, Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Budget of $20 million. Marketing budget about $30 million. I think most of the marketing for this was just people unprompted on social media doing marketing for this movie for free.
They had a
There's
lot
just
of
a large online fan base for this movie
what is called
franchise.
like earned media, where like it's most of their advertising is being done by genuine like fans who are interested in the property and like going out and making content about it, as opposed to like a commercial.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean
But it
that's why it blew up so
grossed
much.
$292 million worldwide. Now it did have a big drop off in its second and third week. I think that's because it dual released on theaters and Peacock,
Yeah, that was dumb.
and people saw it the first weekend and then realized that it was on Peacock and that they didn't have to leave their home.
Yeah,
And they just not that they watched it on Peacock. What they did is they realized it was on there
and so they pirated
and
it
went to a
because they didn't have
pirated
Peacock.
website and watched it. Nice
Because no one
HD
has
download.
Peacock. Because why would you? Why would you do that?
I have Peacock.
We know you do.
Number 6, John Wick Chapter 4, budget of $100 million. That's a movie that actually looks like it cost that much money.
John Wick was so good. Like that movie just looked so cool.
Gross of $432 million, a little bit higher than John Wick Chapter 3. The budget was about $30 million more than the last one.
And it was about 30% longer, so that makes
Yeah,
sense.
this one was like 2 hours and 45 minutes. So a really solid performer, a franchise that's on the up. There's back and forth talks on whether or not they'll just straight up continue this John Wick series. They're doing a spinoff later this year. But if they do decide to continue, I do think there's a market for it. I don't
kind
know
of
if
like
I would
how
keep making them at this budget though.
I kind of like how it ended off without getting stupid. Because this is a franchise that if it goes on for too long, it will get stupid.
Yeah.
And even in this one, like there were some moments.
Should end here.
There were some moments in this one that were already like, okay, how many times can he fall down the same staircase? And,
We're doing
we're
grosses. We're just doing box
it's
office.
most profitable movies of the
Yeah.
year.
We'll do that's later, way later.
But yeah, no, this movie was really good. I like how they left off on a strong note. I hope that they kind of, if they do other spin-offs, whatever, like do new characters, like I'm cool with that. The world is interesting, and they don't even really explore it that much.
No,
in
that was one
the
of my
John Wick
major
movies.
problems with it. Was this movie felt like a weird like side quest.
Like all the John Wick movies are like that though. Like the world that they exist in is very interesting and has a lot of like complex moving parts. And John Wick just seems to not be interested in any of that at all and does not really engage with it. So it would be interesting to kind of see more movies in this world. But I like how John Wick's story ends. I kind of want him to leave it there. I don't want to see this character become stupid.
Number 5, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, budget of $150 million. Grossed $690 million at the global box office. Nice return. Did almost twice what the original movie did. This one I think really managed that first movie. Did okay in theaters. It won that Oscar for Best Animated Feature. It hit Netflix, and it just really built up an audience over the course of a couple of years. So by the time this one came out, it had actually grown.
It was primed to explode.
One of the few cases where it going to Netflix
was a huge plus.
Brought more money to the theaters.
Yeah.
Instead of the opposite, where most people, I think, once it went to Netflix, or when it went to streaming,
It drains. Yeah, it
would have
drains.
been like, oh, I'll just wait for the next one to be on here.
No, yeah, that was really crazy because the first one really wasn't that big of a deal.
No, it wasn't. It did okay, but it did not do
like it was really
well.
good, and like the people who watched it really loved it, but it did not have that big of a fan base.
Came out during a very busy Christmas.
This movie came out, everyone saw it. Like the theater was actually packed. Like there was a crowd like for the concession stand. It was actually a little wild.
Yeah. Guardians. Oh, number 4, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, the only successful MCU film from past year. Budget of about $250 million. Probably about a little over $100 million more for marketing. Grossed about $845 million. A big hit. I think it probably would have done. I was reading the book, the MCU book that came out a few months ago. I think we talked about it.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
And that book went over how this was originally the movie that was supposed to come out first after Endgame, like May of 2020.
Yeah, that makes
this
sense.
Should have been back in the original plans. I think if this movie had come out then, this would have made $1 billion.
Oh, for sure.
But because it came out a couple of years later and the MCU hype was so low when it did, I think it lost a lot of money. But I think just the sheer fact that it was as good as it was,
Especially because it would have directly continued
yeah,
the Gamora storyline.
But this movie, I don't think you're going to be able to. It's not going to be easy for them to recreate this kind of success for a movie again, because this movie, more than a lot of the recent ones, was people who watched Endgame came back for this one because they cared about these characters and wanted to see how their story wraps up, and then they jumped back off the train.
I am very much of the opinion that if this movie had released any other year, it would have been more successful.
Yeah.
Because I think 2023 more than anything in terms of movies has been the year that faith in Marvel completely died.
Oh, it was the year of the comic book movie finally falling.
Which is really sad because that general attitude towards Marvel, I think more than anything else, like really hurt this movie's like
Not
reach.
that it didn't do well. It did pretty good.
It did really well, but it would have done so much better any other year.
Yeah. This is another one that held really well. It didn't open big, or it didn't open huge. And then again, that positive word of mouth kicked in and really had it leg out a lot longer than a lot of other movies. Oppenheimer comes in at number 3, budget of $100 million, made $953 million worldwide. This and Barbie together, really, they both boosted each other. The fact that this kind of movie made this much money in any time is ridiculous.
It's crazy. Like unheard of.
I think Nolan is one of a kind at this point. I think he's the only one who can do this kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think if he does make another movie this type, I don't think it'll do as well, just because it doesn't have that particular nuclear bomb.
I don't know. It might.
Devil's try or like
Imagine it. Okay, Hold on.
Bermuda Triangle exact location success rate.
Hold on. He makes a movie in the same universe. Follow me here? With Albert Einstein. And the movie's just called Einstein. Because people were hyped for Einstein.
Yeah, no.
He was like an
number
MCU
2.
character. He was like, dude, he showed up, people were cheering.
You know, but this movie's success is not even over yet. It's going to hit the Academy Awards. It's going to win probably about 6 or 7 awards. So, number 2 was Barbie. Budget of 145 million, gross of 1.4 billion.
That's another movie where every dollar was on screen.
Probably had the highest marketing budget.
Yeah,
of any movie that came out this year,
for
which is the reason it's not number 1. But obviously a huge hit. Everyone saw this movie. It was a big summer party. I think this movie, it was really exciting to see this movie in that it was not the type of huge success that we've seen the past few years, where this was just like a straight up comedy where people really just went to the theater and it wasn't like a big action franchise thing. And it really got people to in droves seek a genre that they haven't gone to in mass in a long time.
Yeah.
Number 1, the Super Mario Brothers movie. Budget of $100 million, because Illumination likes to keep these movies nice and cheap.
Illumination knows how to keep a budget tight.
Gross of 1.3 billion. Massive, huge.
Nintendo will now make movies forever.
Yes. This is going to guarantee at least 5 to 6 financial failures on the part of
We
Nintendo.
will get 3 more very profitable Mario movies, 2 absolutely abhorrent financial flops.
No.
And
Nintendo
then we will
is
get
now,
2 mediocre Zelda movies.
Nintendo is now going to have complete permission to make at least 3 financial failures off the back of this. Just because this movie made so much money.
No, because if Nintendo makes 1 financial failure, they'll cut it.
Themselves, they won't let themselves do more. But in terms of Hollywood being willing to like co-finance a massive bomb, they would 100% be on board.
No, if Nintendo makes another Mario movie, it will make money, no matter what.
Yeah.
If it's bad, the third one might not make money. If the third one doesn't make money, they'll cut its head off. They'll be like, nuh-uh, never
no more
again.
movies ever again.
Never again.
We obviously know there's been no talk of a Mario sequel this whole year, but we know Zelda's on the way.
There's gonna be a Mario. What do you mean?
They're gonna do it. I'm just saying.
obviously.
Interesting that we heard about the Zelda movie that's happening.
Yeah, I am still very concerned about that.
Okay, the following movies did good. They didn't do great. Just kind of movies that coasted on by, made a little bit of cash this past year. According to Variety, The Little Mermaid and Fast X pretty much just broke even. They did okay.
Yeah,
they're gonna manage to live another day. Hunger Games prequel, the Songbirds and Snakes movie. Creed 3, bunch of horror movies did really well this year. The Nun 2, Evil Dead Rise, Talk to Me, Saw 10, which is they just announced Saw 11 coming out next year.
Yeah.
Scream 6, which is Scream 7 is completely falling apart. No one really knows what's gonna happen with that.
I think they'll just cancel it.
And then Insidious: The Red Door. Wonka is going to do pretty well this holiday season. Taylor Swift: The Eras Tour probably should have been on the list, but the budget and marketing cost of that is so like.
How do you calculate that?
Yeah, it's so malleable.
Because is it the cost of doing the show?
It has a reported budget of like $30 million, but I think that's just to produce the film version. I don't know how much the show itself costs.
Okay, how much?
And then the marketing for the marketing for the movie is also part of just the marketing for the tour in general, and for her albums that came out this year, and like all of the publicity around her. So who even really knows what?
Okay. I would say that the albums is comparable to like toy sales for movies. I would say the only thing that I think would make sense to factor in as the cost of producing this would be the tour that they actually filmed and whatever was involved in that. So like paying the lights guy, paying the venue, all of that stuff I would say is what should count as the budget for this. But like otherwise, I don't know what else you'd factor in.
Either way, it made a lot of money.
Yeah, it made million, gajillion dollars.
Sound of Freedom sold a lot of tickets. It did pretty good.
Especially because they had that QR code at the end of the movie that lets you buy more tickets.
Mm-hmm. Every movie should do that.
Doesn't make any sense, but sure.
Marvel should do that for MCU stuff. At the end of the movie, it just shows a QR code to buy tickets to the next
one. Yeah.
Godzilla Minus One also did really well this past year.
Are we all done eating?
Yeah.
Next, will you let
the dog?
Make sure you lock the door. I don't think they want her out there.
Okay, ready for some flops, some bombs, some big tankers?
Hit me with the slop.
All right, number 10, The Flash.
Big shocker.
Budget of $220 million.
Yeah.
That's reported. Gross of 270 million. It needed way more than that to break even. The cherry on top of just a garbage year for DC. We'll talk about it more in depth later when we get to our best and worst movies of the year. I have a feeling, but
I think that movie's gonna be on everyone's list.
yeah. Number 9, a little bit of a smaller one. Beau is Afraid from A24. This is Ari Aster's movie that came out this year, the director of Hereditary and Midsommar.
Oh.
This was one of the most expensive movies A24 ever made. $35 million budget. Only made $11 million at the box office. This never really got a full wide release, so it never had like a real chance to make money, but not as nearly well received as either of his last two movies.
Midsommar sucked. I hate Midsommar so much.
Not really as a straightforward horror movie as his other two are. I feel like this one was 3 hours. I certainly will talk about it later on my best and worst list. You'll find out where it landed.
I hated Midsommar.
But yeah, no, this
so
movie,
dumb.
just not one that was ever really going to connect with an audience.
Remember in Midsommar when the flower goes like this? Did you see
Sam,
that part?
do you despise Midsommar? I didn't know this was part of the
I hate
lore.
Midsommar. It's so bad. It's actually such a. Me and a couple of my friends watched it like years ago. We watched it over like Zoom or Discord or something. This was like it was like before COVID. So Zoom didn't really exist, but that's not my point. It's so bad. Have you seen it?
Midsommar, I didn't.
It's okay. Do you want me to talk about it?
No.
Okay, then
You have
let's
a lot
just
to
move
go
on. It's
through.
really dumb.
All right. Number 8, one of the most questionable just green lighting decisions. Like, how on earth did anyone think this was ever a good idea? Expendables. The fourth
Otherwise,
movie in the
Expendables 4.
Expendables franchise. Cost $100 million to make. It grossed $37 million at the box office.
Well deserved.
Why?
It deserved every
Why
one
did
of
they
those
think
dollars.
this was a good idea? The last one didn't do well. That was like 12 years ago. Sly Stallone's barely even in this one. The rest of the cast is like new.
Well, I guess you could say this movie was pretty
Their
expendable.
big new star they got was Megan Fox, who hasn't been big in like 8 years.
Consider
I'm moving
all
on
the
past
movies
that.
the studio made,
Yeah, I
this one
get
would
it.
be pretty expendable.
Yeah, no, it just
Because it's not very valuable to them.
they should have just sold this to Netflix for like $50 million.
They should have just not made it.
Okay, but if they were going to make it, this seems like something that would have like.
No, this is an
know
Amazon
what?
Prime original.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say this movie probably would have
This
done
would have
pretty well on Amazon Prime.
This would have hit so hard on Amazon Prime Video.
I think you got all the Jack Ryan and Reacher and all those types of fans.
those two things.
that they have all the other Tom Clancy stuff on there.
Yeah, this would have fit right
this
in.
would have fit right in with the military is rad, old guys doing punching genre.
Yeah, it's a strangely popular genre on Amazon Prime.
Number 7, another DC film. Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Budget of $125 million, grossed $133 million at the box office.
Yeah, this movie was like okay until the end.
Did
ruined the movie for
did
me.
less than the first one and cost more than the first one. Again, I think this is just a general audience didn't care.
It's just worse.
It was
in
too long
almost
since
every
the
way.
first movie. It was not as good. Just weird ending and Gal Gadot cameo and
They like weirdly carved out all of the stuff that made the first movie fun. Like the first one had a really big focus.
The fact that they made it and there's like maybe a minute of screen time where Billy Batson is on screen.
Yeah, like
Is
why?
nuts. I don't understand that at all.
The first one had such a big focus on the family, which I thought was a little weird because like they did the whole Shazam family in the first one, which in the comics didn't happen until like years later. But and that was like part of what made that movie so much fun is the focus on the family. And then in the second one, they're like in one scene and then they all decide that they don't want to do superhero stuff and Shazam's like, "No, guys, we got to do superhero things." And it's like, "All right, why'd you do that?"
I think what happened was that they knew that the kids were going to grow up really fast and look very different from they did in the first movie.
We'll get rid of all
And
of
their
it.
kind of way around it was to not have the kids be on screen most of the time.
That's stupid.
which was a really dumb workaround.
Very dumb.
Just show
Not
the
smart.
kids. Everyone knows they aged. And two, if that was going to be such a big problem, you shouldn't have taken 5 years to crank the sequel out.
Maybe take like 2 or 1 year, maybe at the most.
Maybe 3. Maybe 3.
Maybe
3
not
is
5.
Justified. 5 is ridiculous.
5, you go, all right, clearly we don't
What
know
were
what to
you
do. We'll
doing
do it.
here?
We'll scrap it. We'll do it next time.
Number 5. Oh, by the way, the rest
I've
of this
seen
list
the
is
bear.
Disney movies.
Yeah, that makes
5
sense.
onward is Disney. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. Budget of $200 million for an ant.
Marvel budgets have completely stopped making any sense.
Grossed $476 million. This was just like the epitome of everything wrong with the just
Doing.
massive overblown budget, just monstrous gross VFX everywhere. Way too obsessed with trying to set up future movies.
Yeah, and it like nothing was there.
And it made no sense why it was in an Ant-Man sequel. They just jammed a bunch of stuff that shouldn't have been in this movie.
Why was Kang the main villain? And why'd they have Ant-Man defeat him like very easily?
If you're gonna have him be the villain, Ant-Man has to lose.
He has to lose. Otherwise, now your massive super galaxy multiverse ending threat
Gotta be by Ant-Man.
lost to Ant-Man by himself and his friends. Like not the Avengers, the bug gang. Ant-Man, his old like dad-in-law, his like sort of wife, and his daughter. Like those are not the A team, you know?
It's like the D team.
That's not even a real team.
That's who you call in to fight the Serpent Society. Like that's
they should not be your big guys. Like
number 4. One that kind of flew under the radar and just happened to come up during such like a complete firestorm of news stories where everyone just kind of ignored it. Haunted Mansion came out, $150 million budget, grossed $117 million worldwide.
Danny DeVito was in it.
Had an A-list cast. It's not even a terrible movie. I watched it later when it came to Disney Plus. It was fine.
I did not watch it because I did not care.
Had a big marketing campaign, but they couldn't have the stars promote it because of the strikes. And why did it release during August?
The title of the movie was also Haunted Mansion, which sounds like an AI-generated movie name.
Well, it's based off the Disney ride.
Yeah, maybe we should stop basing things off Disney rides.
But that one franchise did well. That one franchise.
Maybe Disney rides are not enough source material for a feature-length
It's not
film.
about source material.
How long is the ride?
What happens is
like 30 seconds?
What happens is they go to Wikipedia and they Google Pirates of the Caribbean 4 box office, and it shows that $1.3 billion that movie made.
And they go,
go, that'll justify Jungle Cruise 2.
We'll do this again, and it never works again. Forgot they did Jungle Cruise 1.
Yep. Number 3, Wish. Disney's Wish came out fairly recently.
I wish that they didn't make this.
Cost $200 million to make. Another of like, how on earth did this cost that much? And it grossed. Okay.
Animation is very expensive. I understand why. Like that's the same budget as Elemental.
But
that makes sense.
But Spider-Verse should not cost less than this.
Okay, but there are a couple reasons why Spider-Verse costs less.
They know they crunched on Spider-Verse and they abused those poor animators. But are we really going to pretend Disney doesn't do the same thing?
Well, okay, hang on. The animation styles, Spider-Verse is a lot like less expensive to make. The way that it's composited, like the way that animation style works, is just like easier, not easier, but it's less expensive to produce. The Disney, like traditional Disney animation is very expensive. Like the way that they produce things is very expensive. So like that budget makes sense to me. Yeah. Everything else surrounding it in terms of the choices they made while creating it do not make sense.
Number 2, another big Disney bomb, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, reported budget of $300 million. It was definitely more than that. They're hiding it, and then you, of course, have to put even more of that for marketing because it's had a big marketing push. Only made $383 million worldwide, the lowest grossing Indiana Jones movie not adjusted for inflation. If it was adjusted for inflation, it'd be like way, way, way worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, just poor brand management, and how on earth did this movie cost that much to make?
Maybe out of the blue reviving an IP that's been dead for 20 years.
10 years. 15 years.
When did whatever other one come out?
2008 was the last one.
Okay, so
But
a
still,
franchise that's been dead for 14
it was radio
years.
silence. Like, there was nothing. Like, there wasn't a video game.
There wasn't a Disney
There
ride.
wasn't a comic book series. There was not a Disney ride. There was not a cartoon show.
How on earth is there not a Disney ride for Indiana Jones?
That feels like the only
Build a
reason
big mine shaft,
and
put an Indiana Jones robot in it, and put a thing and go. That is the easiest, most brain dead idea.
All you have to do is build the Temple of Doom.
For real. That's it. And like, okay, that sounds like a lot, but for Disney, that's not that crazy. Okay, you know how they reworked whatever the freaking mountain one is that like people didn't like because it was racist or whatever?
Splash Mountain?
Yeah. Make that into Indiana Jones. There's that scene where he flies off the thing in a raft and lands in a river, and they do that. Do that.
Nope.
What did they make it into? Princess and the Frog?
Yeah.
You're dumb. Are you stupid? Indiana Jones.
Well, okay,
what are you doing?
They had to do Princess and the Frog because their dad was racist. Princess and the Frog is about a
Okay, so put a black person in the new Indiana Jones and put him in it.
Indiana Jones is an old white man.
Okay, well put
who was probably racist.
What's the name of his? Put Short Round in it. Just whatever, make it work. Like build an Indiana Jones ride.
Yeah,
that's insane that they haven't done that.
How did that?
Why did
they did not even put the first 4 on Disney Plus until like a week before this came out.
Yeah, they didn't even give like fans a chance to catch up.
That's crazy to me.
Like this was the most poorly managed, like big budget movie release. I think I've seen it in a long time.
I think they thought they could pull a Star Wars with this. I think they thought this was Star Wars.
But Star Wars had so much content.
Star Wars
to
never
keep it afloat.
Stopped. Star Wars just kept going.
Star Wars slowed down, but it never came to a halt.
And
Indiana Jones completely came to a halt.
And also, there's not that okay. Star Wars is generally creatively bankrupt. However, there are things you can do with Star Wars not about Luke Skywalker.
You can always
like it is a story capable of that. Indiana Jones is one guy. It's Indiana Jones.
The Star Wars world
do anything else with the IP other than have him find artifacts and shoot Nazis. Like that's the whole
Star Wars
franchise.
world will always be able to make new content because you can always just make a new planet and a new guy and have him do stuff that's vaguely related to the themes of Star Wars, and it will always be like decent. But like Indiana Jones, yeah, he's an old man. The world that it takes place in is just Earth with like some magic random artifacts. That's it.
And
like the legs of that are that's it. There's no more to that world.
Like you can't like this is not they're always talking about doing spin-offs of this. But you cannot do spin-offs of this because this franchise is one dude. If it's not him, then it's not Indiana Jones.
Then just make it a different thing at that point. Like actually there is no reason to make something that takes place in that world.
They're not. There were talks of a spinoff.
No, it's cooked. It's done.
They're not doing anything else with this. I mean, I know Bethesda's doing
making
that
a game.
I think still, but I don't think that's even going to
making a game like that's an Indiana Jones game could still totally do well. Yeah. Like just make Uncharted, but instead of having
oh my God, it was that easy.
Instead of having a knockoff of Indiana Jones, just have actually
Indiana
Jones.
Since what, like 2013? You're not gonna go.
No, they bought it before then.
2012, right? When Disney bought Lucasfilm.
Did it only take them 3 years to make episode 7?
Yeah, no, they that was fast tracked. That was like they had the ground running like the second that paperwork was filed.
Yeah, I guess it was like it was probably like 2012, 2013 then.
Yeah, but like you've owned it since then. You're not gonna go to freaking Naughty Dog and be like, "Hey, it's 2013."
Hey, so you know that
an Indiana Jones game in 6 years.
You know that game you made that is literally just Indiana Jones without a hat. Can you just put a hat on him and write Indiana Jones on it? Like, yeah, they could have totally done that.
And it could have been out 5 years ago, and they could have had a game out there. They could have had something.
They could have made 2 or 3 of those.
They could have done a 2D animated show on Disney Channel. They could have done a freaking remaster of the other ones on 4K and put them out. They didn't do any of that.
Do a Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Have like a 3D animated show where he like
runs around with short rounds,
punches Nazis or something. Like
dude, that's it.
Why didn't they do anything?
The biggest thing was like, how are you not even gonna put the old ones on Disney Plus?
You know what I think happened? I think they put all their eggs in the Star Wars basket, They didn't even
Obvious-
bother to look at Indiana
Obvious
Jones.
it was negligence because there's no way that budget gets up to where it
They-
was without just ignoring how much
They
were
put
spending on it.
everything in the Star Wars best because they were like, "What is Indiana Jones? I don't care about
Yeah.
this. We don't. Who cares? Put everything in the Star Wars. But we'll make so much Star Wars. We're gonna make a million Star Wars projects." And then, like, after Star Wars imploded on itself, they were like, "Okay, what else do we have? Please tell me we have something. We have Indiana Jones. Okay,
Well,
make
no,
something."
they announced Indiana Jones like this movie like 6 years ago.
Yeah, but they definitely
They've
didn't
been
start
working on it
working
forever. It's the fact that they lost Spielberg, right?
Yeah, who's like the
Lucas
Indiana
didn't work
Jones
on
guy?
this. Like that, he's the reason those movies are good.
Yeah,
But like, you lost him. In Harrison Ford's like 82.
George Lucas wasn't involved.
George Lucas was not involved, and it's just you're just gonna keep pouring money into this and you think it's gonna make $1 billion. I mean, that's absurd that they ever thought it was gonna do
That expectation is
This wouldn't have done that in
deranged.
2010. I mean, this wasn't gonna do that at like when the franchise really had a resurgence.
This movie, I think, if handled well, could have made a decent amount of money. But I don't think they could have handled it any worse.
They should have. This should have cost half as much, and I'm sure Harrison Ford got paid like $50 million.
There are versions of this movie that absolutely would have cost way less and would have
Yeah.
basically been the same movie.
And you could have maybe made like if this cost $150 million, $383 million would have been fine.
Yeah.
If this cost $200 million, maybe you could have skirted by on like action figure sales.
And $200 million is still a lot of money for a movie.
But this ridiculous price tag for that is absolutely
All right, anyway,
unjustified.
what's next?
And then of course we have number one, The Marvels.
That beat out The Flash?
Budget of $219 million. It had a higher budget, but they got a $70 million tax break that really helped them out. So
Wow.
$219 million budget, $202 million gross worldwide. Yeah.
It deserves every dollar it made.
This
They deserve exactly this money is worth exactly as much as it made.
I have not met a single person who cares about this.
I don't think anyone except like the friends and family of the people who made it actually
It does.
have any regard for this movie at all.
No,
in any
no
way.
one cared. Like literally no one. This had zero interest. Captain Marvel 1 made $1 billion, and this just
You know why?
understand.
I think, and this is like, I think one of the biggest reasons it didn't make like anything or didn't have any hype at all is because it didn't have a name attached to it.
Had Brie Larson.
No. I mean like the name of a
It
character.
had Captain Marvel.
No, it was called The Marvels. Who are they?
Yeah, maybe it.
Who are the Marvels?
Yeah, maybe, but I still don't think it would.
Captain Marvel made money.
It did.
Didn't make a lot, and it
Now,
wasn't great,
I
but it
think-
made money.
I think this movie showed how much of the interest in that movie was based on Captain Marvel as a character.
Yeah, no, that's
which was
okay.
almost none.
That's part of it, but I think like their biggest failures are the ones that don't have names. Like the
Yeah.
Eternals. Who? Oomst? Okay, throw it away. I don't want it.
Even Eternals did more.
Yeah, but that was also a way bigger movie and it had a way bigger marketing push. But like this movie, I think if it was called Captain Marvel 2,
Yeah,
it
even
still would have
then,
sucked, but it would have made
it
way more
probably wouldn't
money.
Have made that
Yeah.
much more. I don't know. I don't think so.
I think it would have made
I mean, it was still called The Marvels. She was all over the poster. I mean, it was in all the trailers. People knew. Again, I have met people who knew this came out and knew it was a Captain Marvel sequel, and they just did not care. Like they just had zero interest in it at all. I don't think they did anything to make this movie stand apart from any of the other.
yeah,
38
it has
Marvel
no
movies.
identity at all.
It's just a complete nebulous.
It's a
just this, like,
faceless movie.
it's just it's nothing. It's a big nothing. Anyway, those are the biggest flops. A couple of other notable movies that did not great. Mission Impossible 7 did
That movie was
okay,
pretty good though.
but it had a massive budget that ballooned from COVID.
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves also
That
didn't
movie
do
was
very
good
well.
too. That movie was so fun.
That was a big swing, and they paid the marketing budget for that was insane. They marketed
Yeah, the
it like
marketing was
crazy.
nuts. They should not have gone that hard. with it.
And then I just think it was hard to get just a general audience with Dungeons and Dragons. I think there's a general view that can't be shifted in the culture that is
Okay.
a nerd thing for nerds.
Again, in my opinion, I think if they had called it Dungeons and Dragons or Honor Among Thieves, it would have done a little bit
that's
better.
what it was called, Sam.
No, but on the poster it said Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves. Like that was clearly the like title that they were going for.
I think people knew it was a D&D thing.
They knew it was a D&D thing. I'm saying they didn't lean as much into that in terms of the branding as I think they should.
I just think people saw this and were like, "Oh, I want to." Like, even though it was not hard for a person who doesn't know D&D to understand, I think a lot of people just
they thought it would be, and so they didn't want to touch it.
Yeah.
Which, but even with the D&D, like D&D is bigger now than it's probably ever been since it was like made. Like that audience should have been there and just like kind of just wasn't interested.
More stuff. Napoleon didn't do great. Killers of the Flower Moon didn't either. Those were both Apple movies from auteur filmmakers. That
those
like
are made
$2 million.
for Apple. So.
But those were made so that Apple could say they have an Oscar contender. So I don't really think they care. And they have infinite money, so it doesn't matter to them. Guy Ritchie's The Covenant, Operation Fortune, Ruse de Guerre, another Guy Ritchie film.
Totally
you saw that one, yeah, didn't you?
Which one?
Operation Fortune.
Oh,
yeah, you did.
No, I didn't. You guys went to go see it, but
okay,
I
you must have not. Max, you saw it, right?
Oh no! Wait! We did see that one.
You saw Operation Fortune.
No, we
right?
did. It was a Jason Statham, and then there's the billionaire guy who's like,
I didn't see it. I wasn't there.
Have a rockets. Yeah, we did see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely forgot we saw that.
It came out in like January, so
I forgot that was the name.
Yeah. 65, the Adam Driver dinosaur movie.
I remember seeing trailers for
Blue
that.
Beetle, the creator. That was sad.
Creator was really good.
Magic Mike's Last Dance, which was supposed to go to streaming and then it was given a theatrical release.
Oh no, what a shame. What a shame that movie didn't
No
do
Hard
very good.
Feelings, the Jennifer Lawrence comedy, which I did end up seeing. It's not great. Joyride was another comedy that didn't do great. Renfield, The Machine. And then it's not out of theaters and hasn't been very long, but Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is going to end up being on the list.
Yeah. All right. Is that it for the list?
That's all the bombs. You want to get into the awards?
Let's hand out some awards.
Yay. Okay, guys, this is our new yearly awards show.
We're just
call
starting
it the Golden McNuggets.
The Golden McNugget. Well, okay, I don't think we can say that. The Golden Nuggets. I don't think we're allowed to say McNuggets. I think that's copyrighted.
All right. So we have like 20 or so categories. I have a list of nominees. Most things we have seen, some we haven't. We'll go through it all. We're going to have a good time. Let's start off with our first category, which is Best Comic Book TV Show. Our nominees: Secret Invasion, Loki Season 2, The Flash Season 9, Gen V, Invincible Season 2 Part 1, Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, which was the Netflix show, and My Adventures with Superman, which came out earlier this year.
Yeah, I think
it's really between Gen V, Loki Season 2, and Invincible Season 2.
It's Loki, because Invincible Season 2 was I'm so sick of like taking a several month-long break in the middle of your season. Just delay it and release the whole thing at once. I hate this. Stop it. Stop doing it. And then Gen V was like, just did not have an ending. They just forgot to write an ending to the show.
Yeah.
It just goes, okay, Homelander shows up and then show end. I was like, oh.
I didn't see the
okay,
Scott
cool,
Pilgrim one. Did you watch the
Scott Pilgrim was good.
You did watch that one, okay.
I think I would have enjoyed it more if it was actually an adaptation of the source material that people have wanted since
I think he
forever.
wanted to do, I think it not being that was why the creator wanted it.
Yeah,
how they got everyone on board.
But
I feel like if they just did Scott Pilgrim again, I don't think it like that cast.
Okay, the movie is like not at all the same as the comic. It's not there is so much because the comic spans like several, like I think 2 or 3 years of like Scott Pilgrim's life. The movie is like a day, maybe 2 days. Like there's a lot of material that they cut out, and I feel like fans really want to see that adapted. This was still really good, and I still enjoyed watching it. And it flushed out Ramona a lot because as like much as people enjoy Scott Pilgrim, I think she out of all the characters is the weakest of them all. Because like if you without this show, what can you tell me about Ramona Flowers other than the fact that she has colorful hair?
She's Mary Elizabeth Winstead in the movie.
Yeah. Okay. See, that's like not a lot of information. This did a lot to flesh her. What?
Never mind.
This did a lot to flesh her character out. I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun.
I think I'm gonna say I don't want to say Invincible because it's like half a season.
We can't count Invincible. It's not even like.
So I guess it is Loki.
Yeah, it's Loki.
If I had to pick a worst of these, it's definitely Secret Invasion.
Worse than the Flash season 9?
Yeah.
I didn't see the Flash season 9. But
you watched the
Secret
finale.
Invasion.
You watched the finale for the Flash.
Okay, that finale was like dumber than all of Secret Invasion, though.
Secret Invasion was so boring.
But there were like some parts where you were like, okay, this
okay,
could have been cool.
The Flash at least made baffling decisions that were like, how is this gonna play out? Secret Invasion was just boring.
At least it had somewhat of a decent.
The only good concept was its premise, and its premise it stole from a comic book and didn't even do right.
Yeah, but at least
So,
they
like-
used somewhat source. The Flash, they were just like.
That's
Yeah.
kind of what's fun about the Flash is they were just making stuff up.
Come on, Blue, and he comes and he's bad, and the Flash goes, "Stop being bad," and he's like, "Okay."
I'm gonna say it's Secret Invasion. I had less
know.
fun watching Secret Invasion than I did. The Flash.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, the Flash was more fun to watch, but like,
Secret Invasion was a drag, man.
okay, hang on though. I have a case. I think I have a case for why the Flash is worse
Okay, keep it brief. We
because
have a lot
the
of these.
Flash was good.
Okay, 8 years ago.
Yes, but that's
Okay.
what it ended up becoming.
Was it any more wasted time to watch the Flash season 6 as compared to the Flash season 9?
Okay,
Like,
hang on though.
Secret Invasion, the whole thing was a waste of
No,
time.
exactly. The whole thing sucked. The Flash used to be good. There was never a point where
I think it's Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasion was never
Secret
good.
Invasion Secret Invasion also has to like tie into the rest of the MCU stuff.
Yeah, but it's not going
Fla-
to. No, it doesn't.
The Flash.
They have not mentioned Gaia once.
Okay, there's been 2 things, but like that technically takes place in the universe. Like the Flash, they're never gonna touch the Arrowverse again.
There wasn't
so it
even a
doesn't
what if
really matter.
episode where Gaia shows up. She's tailor made to be in what if episodes.
Anyways, Loki is the best.
Yeah,
Loki
Loki's
probably had
easily the best.
Yeah,
character
probably.
arc
It's
in
like,
the
I think Gen
MCU.
V is probably number 2. My Adventure Superman was good too.
Yeah, but I kind of forgot about it.
Loki actually revived my liking.
Best non-comic book TV show. We have Succession season 4, Barry season 4,
By the way, Golden Globes, this is how you make categories that make sense.
The Bear season 2, Poker Face season 1, Ahsoka season 1, The Mandalorian season 3, The Last of Us season 1, Ted Lasso season 3, Jury Duty, Only Murders in the Building season 3, The Fall of the House of Usher. I'm gonna pick a lot of good TV shows this year, weren't there?
I think I have to go. I didn't watch
For me,
the Bear
it's between
season 2.
Barry season 4 and The Bear season 2.
I haven't seen the Bear season 2. If I did finish it, I'd probably.
Did you watch The
to
Bear
that.
season 1?
I did watch all of season 1. I just haven't finished season 2 yet. Because I'm really annoyed by Hulu with
Yeah,
ads, so
I'm
like I basically
Bear's
never
really
watch
good.
it.
The Bear is really, really
I'm gonna-
good.
I'm gonna-
Jeremy Allen White.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give mine to Last of Us. That show's
Okay.
really,
Yeah,
really good.
we'll talk about it later.
I kind of got bored of
It's on another category. We'll get into more detail.
But
Jury Duty
if I
was
saw
fun
the
too.
Bear, I'd probably give it to that. But I
Probably
haven't
good
finished
TV. I know Succession is the one everyone loves, but we
Try to
didn't watch it.
Succession.
it. I don't care about Succession at all.
All right, this is a fun category. Best advertisement.
Oh,
So which
interesting.
movie
Interesting.
or show worked as the best advertisement for its product?
Okay, this
we
is
have-
an interesting.
We have Air,
award.
which is an ad for Air Jordans. Flamin' Hot, which is an ad for Flamin' Hot
Forgot they
Cheetos.
even made that.
Blackberry, which is an ad for
That
Blackberry
one was pretty
phones.
good, actually.
That was good, but no one
Tetris,
finds
which is an ad for Tetris, the video
I didn't even
game.
see that.
Transformers, Rise of the Beast, which is an advertisement for Transformers toys. Barbie, which is an advertisement for Barbie dolls. And then Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves, which is an advertisement for...
Yeah, I'd argue that Bear is probably the best advertisement.
Yeah,
Barbie is the best, like the best. Movie.
I don't know.
Barbie's the best.
Okay.
Movie on there. Air's the best.
Air's
advertisement.
pretty good.
Hang on, let me make a case for Dungeons and
I would
Dragons.
rather watch
Yeah,
Air than
Dungeons and
Barbie.
Dragons is
Let me
good
make
too.
a
I
case
think-
for Dungeons
yeah.
and Dragons because
Advertising.
Dungeons and
this
Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons.
They want you to go
Yeah,
home and
okay.
play the
But,
game.
like they're not advertising.
No, but
They
are.
want you to buy the
just- you
stuff
just
to
don't-
play D&D.
If you're familiar with the D&D world, everything that is
They
in
can already be in it.
exactly,
Purchase
no,
the stuff.
exactly, everything that happens in that movie has almost 100% for sure happened in someone's D&D game at some point. The Air, like they make stuff up. Some of that stuff is not true. D&D, like that's exactly what playing D&D is.
But Air did make me want to go buy a pair of Nikes.
But I didn't. I bought Adidas this year, and I have not bought a pair of Nikes in like several
Oh.
years.
Max,
No,
I think Air is the best advertisement.
Mm. But it's
In the year of the product movie,
Yeah, I guess
I
because
think Air was probably the best one. Blackberry was good too, but Blackberry
Air-
was a bad advertisement for
Air
Blackberry.
is kind of
because about how much they
silly
failed.
and like how much it like hypes up how cool these shoes are. They're like, shoes are a gift from Jesus himself. Painted the leather that goes
By
on
the
the
way-
shoes.
Michael Jordan.
By the way,
Yeah.
Air cost $160 million.
That's a lot. How many shoes is
Okay,
that? How
this
many?
is my.
What is the cost of the movie in
How many
pairs
Air
of
Jordans could they buy with that money?
Thousands.
All right, this is my favorite category. Okay, this is the Glup Crapo Award for worst cameo.
Glup Crapple Award. Heck yes.
All right, we have quite a few. There's so many nominees. All right, we have Beast in the Marvels, Anakin
yeah, for sure,
Skywalker in the Ahsoka TV show.
Okay, he was like kind of
And-
important though.
This is worst cameo. Glup Crapo Award for worst cameo. Andrew Garfield live action footage in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Yoshi Egg in the Super Mario Bros. Movie. G.I. Joe in Transformers
Oh, it's
Rise
gotta
of the
be G.I.
Beast.
Joe.
Christopher Reeve in The Flash. Helen
Oh, that
Slater
was
in
really
The
bad,
Flash.
too.
Wonder Woman in The Flash. Wonder Woman in Shazam, Fury of the Gods. George Reeves in The Flash. Adam West and Burt Ward in The Flash.
Oh shoot.
George Clooney in The Flash. Nicolas Cage in The Flash. And JFK name drop in Oppenheimer.
Oh, that was really that. Yeah, that was really
JFK
weird.
name drop.
That was pretty wild. But okay,
was wild. That
but that
wasn't
wasn't
bad.
bad.
It
Yeah,
was like it.
I would
like
say
crazy.
the
God,
two.
there's so I could pick any
Okay,
of the Flash.
The two worst, in my opinion. I'm not counting like the George Reeves and the Christopher Reeves because those are just like, those are like on another level
of like morally
of like that's like
morally
morally
wrong.
questionable.
It's like every single.
Like there's morally questionable cameos. I'm talking about like just bad cameos. I think Wonder Woman in Shazam was extremely stupid and kind of
cameo is-
ruined the movie
yeah.
for me. And then G.I. Joe because it was
G.I.
just
Joe was so
so
dumb.
insane.
My favorite part of the G.I. Joe one is that they didn't have time to put any G.I. Joe stuff in it.
Yeah, so it's just like
They
random
opened the
airplanes.
big warehouse store and
There's nothing there.
in the
It was
warehouse.
awesome.
They couldn't even have like a guy in a Snake Eyes outfit walk on
Okay.
screen. Like you don't even need the guy who plays Snake Eyes because he's just wearing a mask.
Just have him be in the room.
Just have anyone
Just take the like sound guy
and
put him in
in
the
a Snake
suit
Eyes outfit.
and put him on the screen for 5
it
seconds.
was literally an empty warehouse with like a plane in it.
like not even a special plane.
It was like a regular
It
plane.
was like a Quinjet from like the early Marvel movies.
If it was just the card, because he hands in the G.I. Joe card,
that would have been better than the
that would
warehouse.
have been better than what they did, which was the big dumb
Open an empty warehouse.
empty warehouse.
And then there was the second.
I would have, if I was that guy, right, and they hand me that card and they showed me the big empty room, I would have been like, "Are you like a shipping company? What do you do? Like, what is this?"
That one I think might be the worst just because it makes the least sense. Like all the
Yeah.
other cameos, like okay, Ahsoka, like Anakin was important to the story of that show. That like made sense. Like all the ones in the Flash, like okay, it's like the
They were
Flash,
so gross,
multiverse,
and they
whatever,
looked weird, and they
okay.
were like AI generated.
but there's so many of them, and they're basically all the same. So how do we say which one is worse? Like they're basically all the same.
I'm
to
gonna
me.
pick the George Reeves one.
I think that one is the most morally reprehensible. But like in terms of just flat out worst, like stupidest, I gotta go G.I. Joe. Like that's just so dumb. If the movie has nothing to do with him, he was at least Superman, and Superman is in the same world as the Flash. G.I. Joe is not related to Transformers at all. Those are
Other
two
than that, they're
totally
Other
separate
than the fact
things.
that they're two brands that this company
Yeah,
owns.
no, that would be like if Barbie, like by that logic, Barbie has just as much right to have shown up in the
Yeah,
Transformers
that'd be like
movie.
if the Hungry Hippos showed up in the Barbie movie.
Yeah, that would be extremely. You'd be like, what?
Why?
Why? Even in the Barbie movie, because it takes place in like toilet Barbie Land or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If you had another toy show up there, I would have been like, oh, it's like a toy fantasy land. Another toy showed up. Okay. This just like made, and it wasn't in any of the rest of the movie. If the movie was like had another G.I. Joe like character show up and he was like doing something
Yeah,
important,
it's the fact that they couldn't even get a G.I. Joe
yeah,
character to
it
be
just
there.
happens. And then it ends.
Or like a name actor. You put like, because there's like the boardroom guy telling him, right?
Yeah.
If you just put like a semi-famous actor there, and that's it, you'd be like, oh, he's playing one of the G.I. Joe.
yeah,
That's
he's
kinda
playing
cool. It's the
Thunderbolt
fact
Joe
that they
or
couldn't
whatever.
get anything or anyone from G.I. Joe.
Yeah, it was
anything.
just. I gotta go with the GI Joe.
I'm gonna do. Yeah, you're gonna go G.I. Joe. I'm gonna go with the George Reeves, just
I think-
because it was gross, and we don't even know if he has an estate. So there's a very real chance they did that without asking anyone.
I think George
and
Reeves.
and they just did it.
I think George Reeves definitely wins.
Because at least
the
with
worst.
like
Yeah.
Christopher Reeve and like Adam West, and
they
all that,
asked somebody.
They have like living families, so somebody probably got paid for it.
Yeah,
Like George Reeves, they just did that because they could.
yeah, and like again, like I don't even like that's to me that's like on another like this is like a silly award. That was like. No, you actually screwed up for real. Like, that is an ethical violation. Like, that's not allowed.
All right, Max isn't here, but I guess
Max
we'll
went
just
to
go
go
on the
get
next one.
something. I don't know where he went.
All right, next category, which is Best Dad Movie.
Best dad movie.
We got Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1,
That's a pretty good dad movie.
Oppenheimer, Sound of Freedom, John Wick Chapter 4, Air, Ferrari, Napoleon, and Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
I think I gotta go Mission Impossible.
I think so. I think you're right.
Because Oppenheimer was good, but it wasn't
Oppenheimer's
really
the
a
best
dad movie.
here.
Yeah.
But it has
There's not enough hoorah.
things. Yeah.
Dad movies gotta have
Some
the hoorah.
dads could get bored. And also, I think part of this is like, which one of these would you like most be okay watching with your dad? And Mission Impossible is like so generally inoffensive and just kind of fun.
Like, okay, to me, like a dad movie's gotta have like a badass scene. Like, there's gotta be
Where
something.
an old guy does something cool.
Yeah, there's gotta be like, oh, he's doing. But like Oppenheimer didn't really have nothing like that really happened.
No,
Like, it was
yeah.
just a historical drama. Same with Napoleon.
We're doing best dad movie.
There was not really anything hoorah in Napoleon. Like, it was not a hoorah. I didn't see Sound of Freedom, so I have no idea. Yeah, Top Gun was. I think it's got to go to Mission Impossible.
Yeah. Top Gun was the clear winner last year. Top Gun might be the greatest dad movie of all time. if we're
It
being
probably
honest.
is. No, but
I think
Oppenheimer didn't have enough hoorah.
it also has nudity in it, and if you're watching that with your
Yeah,
dad,
you
that might
can't
make
take
you
your dad to
uncomfortable.
see that. That's a little weird.
Yeah. So I think Mission Impossible.
I think
is
it's gotta
the
be
clear
Mission
dad
Impossible.
film.
Because he jumps off the cliff in the motorcycle and he
Yeah.
goes,
What else
oh,
came out
oh my gosh, this is falling.
What else came out?
The other ones were Oppenheimer, Sound of Freedom, John Wick, Air, Ferrari, Napoleon.
John Wick is a really good dad
Maybe
movie
John
too.
Wick.
Good.
But I think it's a little too long.
Yeah.
And it feels longer.
Dad's
Like,
got stuff.
it's
to
like
do.
around the same length, but it feels longer.
Dad
Plane?
play.
Plane is too
Dad-
stupid.
It's too bad.
Dad's
Like,
no, like Dad's got work to do. He's got to do yard work.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that much time. I
And
think
you-
Mission Impossible is long too, though.
I feel like John Wick, or if your dad is a big Keanu Reeves fan,
Yeah.
definitely John Wick.
I think Air is also a pretty good dad movie.
well,
It's
Yeah, but
about a thing. It was about a thing that was around when your dad was a kid.
it could be Creed.
I
Well,
don't think it's
if
Creed
Rocky
three.
was in it, I would say yes,
Yeah.
but Rocky wasn't.
It doesn't.
in
It need, a key factor of dad.
It's gotta have
movie
some
is
nostalgic
old guy.
connection, yeah.
It's gotta have old guy in it, and there's no. Old
I think
guys in
because of that, I think because Mission Impossible has that nostalgic connection to old thing, I think
Yeah.
it's got to win.
it. I think it's Mission.
Because John Wick is really cool, but it's not. It's new. It's like new gen.
Ooh,
That'll be a
this
dad
is-
movie in the future. You know.
This one's got a lot of contenders. We
Guy
have
Ritchie.
I forget what is that.
biggest surprise.
All right, let's do biggest. So just to be clear, Mission Impossible
Mission
wins
Impossible clear dad film.
the golden nugget.
Yeah,
All
golden
right.
nugget for dad film. Biggest surprise. We have the Super Mario Brothers movie, Oppenheimer, Barbie, Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, Blue Beetle, Godzilla -1, Evil Dead Rise, Plane, Mithrigan, The Creator, Wonka, and Blackberry. Quite a few. Guys,
Category?
Biggest surprise.
So what was like actually really good and you didn't expect it to be?
Yeah, I gotta give it to
That's a
Godzilla
good
-1.
Yeah, there's a
Kind of
there's a lot of good ones on here.
Because
though.
Plane.
I would say Oppenheimer if it wasn't directed by
No,
Christopher
but
Nolan.
But Oppenheimer.
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 It was
Oppenheimer.
so hyped up. It's like
Yeah.
it lived up. To
It
the
would
hype.
have, yeah, it would have been a surprise if it wasn't as hyped up and if it wasn't Christopher Nolan. But because it was Christopher Nolan and he already has such a,
It's such a huge,
with the
like,
exception of
production.
Tenet, basically
Yeah,
perfect track
There's
record,
a lot of good stuff on here.
Even Tenet was bad.
you just no one saw it.
Blackberry was really good. A lot of people saw it.
Well, I
Wonka
kinda
was a
forgot
pleasant
Blackberry, to be
surprise.
honest.
The Creator was really good.
Creator was really
The
good,
Creator was
but
really
like
good.
that
I
wasn't a
think that's
surprise. I
good.
kind of I was kind of
Yeah.
expecting that
Yeah,
one to be good.
Creator could have gone either way.
Evil Dead
Godzilla-
Rise. You guys didn't see that one, but that one was really
I did
fun.
see that.
Like
did?
Godzilla
That's
movies
the
are
one with the
usually
mom and the-
Yeah.
which,
Godzilla
wait,
minus.
which one?
I mean, D&D was really good.
D&D was
D&D
really
should
good.
not have been
No,
as
but I
good
feel
as
It had
it
no
was.
right to be
Here's
that
the thing,
good.
here's the thing.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that Godzilla minus one.
That's
When
true.
I saw, it, I was like,
Yeah,
I mean,
see,
like,
that's the thing
Yeah,
for me.
I think it has to be
because of his
Godzilla.
track record.
Godzilla is so good.
Like,
Because it
Honor
came
Among
out of nowhere
Thieves-
and it was so good.
I mean, again, the fact that that movie, I cared more about the characters in the movie than I did watching Godzilla blow.
and that's
stuff
like that
up.
has never happened before.
that shouldn't happen. Like it's too good.
Yeah, it
It's-
should not have
yeah.
happened. It should not have been that good.
and I think the creator also is.
Like D&D is
not-
extremely
Yeah, I don't think Creator has that much of an appeal outside of a theater just because it's so.
D&D is very hit or miss because there are really good stories in that universe and there are really dumb stories in that universe. So like it could have really gone either way. So the fact that it was good wasn't crazy surprising because like stuff like Critical Role is
I
incredibly
don't know. I
popular
was
and
pretty
incredibly
surprised
pretty
that a
good.
movie based on a fake board game is really good.
It also didn't like seem like it was gonna be.
Marketing
Like, I saw
was
the
not.
trailer. I was like,
The marketing wasn't great, but like
it seemed really generic, and then it had a lot of personality, which I think was what the
that's
biggest surprise
true.
was.
Anyways,
I
it's
I,
clear winner.
I think I
I think
still got to
it's
give it to
Godzilla.
Godzilla though. Yeah.
All right, best video game:
Oh, okay.
The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, Alan Wake 2,
Did any of us play that?
Resident Evil 4 Remake,
Okay.
Final Fantasy 14,
We
and
should
Star
only-
Wars Jedi Survivor.
We should only put it on the list if like at least one of us has played the
I
game.
think it would be fun of us if one of us picked the game that we didn't play.
Like,
though.
why would we?
I played 2 games this
Why
year.
would we put Alan Wake on the? None of us
I'm
have
trying
ever
to pad
played
it out
Alan
because
Wake.
otherwise it'd be
Wait, read
2
the list
things:
again?
Zelda, Baldur's Gate, Spider-Man, Mario, Alan Wake, Resident Evil, Final Fantasy, Star Wars.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I've played Zelda and Spider-Man 2, and that was it.
Okay, as the person who
You played Baldur's Gate 3 though, and you really.
I
liked
played
it.
Baldur's Gate 3. I played Zelda. I started Mario Wonder. I haven't finished
I know
it,
we
but
both
I'm about half.
own it.
I'm about
I
like
haven't played it at all yet.
I'm like 2 worlds into the game.
I got it for
Um,
Christmas, and then I played all of Spider-Man 2 instead.
What else? Was the rest? Have I played anything else on the list?
Did you
I
play?
don't think so.
Did you play Star Wars?
I haven't, but I plan to. I just haven't done it. I gotta give it to Baldur's Gate. Like it's hard to explain how good the game
This
is.
episode's quickly turning into Sam fangirling about D&D.
No, no, you don't get it. Like you don't get it. This game is insane. Okay. I wanna just give you one example. All right. You meet this vampire guy, and he can join your team. The night he joins your team, he like asks if he can suck your blood because he's a vampire guy. If you let him do it for too long, your character dies, and the main character like role is passed on to like another person in your party. Now that person has the power to revive you. You don't have to do it, but you can. If you revive your character and you talk to the vampire guy again, that actually happened. Like they talk about that event occurring. It's not like in a video game where like that just kind of happened and none of the characters address it. They do, and that actually affects the chemistry of your party moving forward.
Red Dead 2, they're like, look, they're actually hammering in the nails.
No, but this is something that actually affects the game. Like in any other game that wouldn't affect the game.
Yeah, but okay, that's cool and all. But are you a giant Venom? Like, are you actually giant Venom?
You do get to play.
Crashing
Spoiler for
through-
Spider-Man 2. You do get to play
Crashing
as
through
Venom
this
for
whole
a bit.
building of like people.
I was really
That's
surprised.
not like that.
I was
that's
really
not that cool though. Like that's cool, but it's not.
I
It's
was
not cool
really-
from an industry
No, no, no.
perspective.
No,
That's happened in other
No,
games before.
Sam didn't play Spider-Man 2.
But that has happened in other games before. This
No.
game has things in it that have never been done in gaming before.
I'm gonna pick
nothing in
Zelda.
Spider-Man 2 is new.
I'm gonna play Zelda. I played Spider-Man 2. I didn't even like it as much as the first one. So
Which one? Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2, yeah.
And Zelda was really, really good.
I thought the first game was better than Spider-Man. My biggest problem with Spider-Man 2 was that the combat
See, why are you riding so hard for Spider-Man? You didn't even finish the game.
The one that I played.
was one that the story's pretty predictable. There's way more of the combat, but they took features out, so it's now like there's less you can do with it,
That was honestly the most.
and it's more repetitive. So the whole game, and there's no enemy variety. There's like 5 enemies in the game, and you just fight them over and over and over.
That was the
again.
most boring part of Spider-Man 1 for me. Is the combat kind of is boring.
Okay, but in the first game, you had like 10 different types of gadgets, and you could run around. You could switch between them.
Yeah, but you never remember to use
you
it.
had a bunch
I
of.
remember these.
I've used them all the time. You could throw stuff around. You could spin. You had the focus bar. You could like do all the suit special abilities. They took all of that out of the new game.
That's all out of the game.
So you have 4 gadgets for both characters, and you have each one has like specials. Peter has the Venom stuff, and then Miles has bioelectricity, and that's it. So basically, every fight is you're mashing square, and then as soon as they're recharged, you mash whatever ability or
Yeah, that's
gadget you have, and then they
pretty
just
lame.
kill one guy, and you move on
They
to the next
had
guy.
it really good. It almost perfected Miles Morales,
Yeah,
and then they like.
All right, what about Tears of the Kingdom? Did either of you actually?
I
play
played Tears. I didn't
didn't
finish
play.
it. I didn't finish it all. The way.
all I have left is the final boss because I wanted to do every single side quest. So
I played it.
I still have like I think 2
But
side
it was
quests
the
left.
best game I played this year by far. So
Tears
out
of the
2
Kingdom.
games I played this
Tears of the Kingdom is an incredible game. It makes Breath of the Wild look like a demo for this game, which is insane because that was also one of the craziest, most innovative open world games ever made.
Mhm.
And it dwarfs it. That said, it's not that different in terms of experience. The story plays out in basically the same way. The story is almost the same story.
Wait, now hold on.
It's the circumstances,
Let me ask you this
specifics are
question.
slightly different, but it's basically the same. You do save Zelda. And like the mechanics from a mechanic perspective, like the building and stuff, that is all really, really, really cool. And that part of the game I would consider groundbreaking in some ways in terms of the physics and the crafting and that kind of
I
stuff.
think we've come to a
But
It's Zelda. Anyway,
I gotta give it to
Elden Ring game of the
Elden
year.
Ring wins. Elden Ring wins game of the decade.
I bought
game of the
Elden
century.
Ring over a year ago, and I have yet to play it. For
Oh,
years.
now you can
such a
play it on the
good game.
PS5 and
I
it'll
can.
actually be
I-
good.
I downloaded it onto my PS5 because it comes with a free PS5 upgrade on the PS4. disc I
You
bought.
gotta play it.
Elden Ring actually.
So I might play it now.
Elden Ring might be better than Tears of the Kingdom. I'm not
Elden
gonna
Ring
lie.
actually.
All right, best video game adaptation.
Okay.
We have The Last of Us, the TV show, the Mario Bros. Movie, Gran Turismo, if you remember that.
That
Mhm.
movie actually didn't.
Five Nights at Freddy's movie, Twisted Metal TV show,
Oh,
I heard that was actually good, but
Castlevania
I'm never
Nocturne,
watching it.
which is
I
the
didn't watch
Netflix
that.
anime. Didn't you watch the first?
I watched the original. The original was really good.
And The Witcher season 3. I don't know if I didn't know whether to count that or not because it's technically based on a book.
I watched The Witcher. See, I watched like the first 2 episodes and then I forgot to watch the rest.
It's Last of Us. But
It's Last of
It
Us.
is Last
I
of
So
didn't
easily,
follow
it's Last of Us.
This last was.
I had problems with the way The Last of Us ended, but that was about it. Not even like how it ended, just like the way that final episode was. I felt it was like really anticlimactic the way they shot it.
I mean, that's how the game goes.
No, but like the whole ending thing where he's like going through the hospital, they like sucked all the volume out and it was just like a low piano score, and they just like it was like a montage.
I like
felt like
how-
that, and the episode was like 30 minutes long. Like I felt like they should have really drawn it
I
out.
like how kind of brutal that scene was. Though.
I thought that was the problem, was that it wasn't brutal. I thought they just cut around all of it.
Nah,
felt
he
they-
kind of like
I
murders
felt like
a lot
they
of
really
dudes.
needed to like the game, just like put the camera behind him and just show him just like slowly drudging through the hospital.
That would have
just
been
killing
boring
people.
though. That would have gotten boring after like 2 seconds.
I think they could have done it better.
I have no idea what you're talking about. When? What? I don't know what you're talking about.
Nope.
I have no clue what you're
Best
referencing right
MCU. Best of the MCU.
now. Okay, so we're giving it to Last of Us. You
Ant-Man-
gotta say who wins.
Yes, it's The Last
Okay.
of Us. Ant-Man 3, Guardians 3, Secret Invasion, Loki Season 2, The Marvels, and What If Season 2.
Mm. Oh,
It's between Loki and Guardians. Really.
I really, really
Those are
liked
the only two
Guardians.
good MCU
Sam,
things.
I haven't even watched What If Season 2 yet.
Loki season, or what if season 2 was really
You
stupid?
finished
It's
it, though,
Loki.
right?
I finished it and I'll talk about it in a minute.
It's
But
Loki.
I don't know.
It's kind of a toss up between Loki and
I don't know what it is.
Guardians.
It's Guardians Volume 3.
But I just.
Yeah, I know you really like it, but I think you like it more than we do. So
Yeah.
I don't really know.
because it's Rocket's character arc versus Loki's character arc, and those are the 2 best character arcs in the entire MCU.
I have to go with Loki.
Yeah, but you got to think about the
So
other
good.
parts of Loki season. And there are parts of that season that don't.
But all the part,
Not really.
but everything.
There's a lot of like super like Sylvie has nothing to do the whole season. Like,
Yeah,
she's
but
just
also
No,
what's
no,
it?
she does.
Adam Warlock also like could
No,
have just
she
been cut out of the
actually
movie and
does
no one would
because-
notice.
Like, no, she caused all the problems. Like, she kind of helps.
She has interesting stuff
Because
going
she's
on.
like, oh, it doesn't matter. Everyone.
I really like Loki.
I don't know. I think his character arc was.
I think I'm personally more interested in like high sci-fi kind of like high concept like quantum whatever stuff. Like I find that
Oh,
kind
that's
of
why you love
interesting.
Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Well, no,
Also-
but no, but like
The best
when
movie
it's
ever
done
made.
well, obviously.
Okay, Sam, think about it though. Which of these had MODOK's butt?
I'm not even. I forgot you even said Quantum Mania. Like I'm not counting. That's not a real movie.
You're just not gonna count it.
Like, okay, Rocket had a really.
Okay, Rocket. Every single scene with Rocket is perfect. The rest of that movie doesn't stand out very much to me. Like, remember when they go to the prison and there's like they fight the dudes in the big rubber suits?
Yeah.
I barely remember why were they even doing that?
Okay, but like, what happened in Loki season 2?
So much stuff. What do you mean?
What happened in like? You remember the end, right?
Yeah, the end was crazy.
But what really happened for like the other parts of it?
Do you want me to summarize the whole
No,
show?
okay, I'm
Like,
just
what do you
saying-
want me to do?
I'm saying other than like the
Okay,
final
so
2
you-
episodes, there's not a lot about those first 4 that really stand out.
I thought they were really good. I think they do.
I don't hate Loki.
It continues
I just
where
like Guardians
season
3 more.
Because
It continues where season one
'cause
left
mo-
off,
the-
everything's out of order.
and they introduced the mystery of like what's going on with his like time slipping thing. How does that work? Like
They
we
try to find
the Renslayer.
Renslayer. Yeah, they're trying to find her. Like all out of whack.
Yeah, like there's a lot of stuff going
And then
on.
he realizes that like
Was like actually like
and
still
so
in
it's to,
control,
like,
even though they
take
thought they
everything
killed him
into
already.
account and-
Mm,
and
yeah.
extra cell.
I think I gotta give it to Loki, partially because it's also the only really good Marvel show. And I think I gotta give it to for being like the one good Marvel show.
I'm gonna give it to Guardians 3, but you two are giving it Loki. So
Yeah, I
guess
think-
Loki
I think we
wins.
gotta give it to
Loki.
Loki.
Kind of like us, like Guardians was like surface level. Like Rocket had a good character arc, but it was like
It only affects the
it
Guardians.
only affects Guardians.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Okay.
I think okay.
All right.
The final thing I want to say about Loki.
Okay.
For me, Loki kind of represents personally like the end of the MCU. Like if you view Loki as like a finale to the MCU, it works fairly well, and I think that it kind of rounds up a lot of stuff. Exactly, and I really like that. Whereas like Guardians is a phenomenal movie. It's a great ending to the Guardians story. But I think Loki, for me personally, like when I finished Loki, I was like, you know what? I think the MCU is good now. I think
What
we
you're
can
telling me is
leave
you
it to
didn't
rest
think
here.
that while watching the Marvels.
No.
I thought the MCU was done,
So
but in
here's
a
the thing.
different way.
No, I mean the story of the MCU, not like the business of the MCU.
Is I put in both of them, and I literally.
This is real. He really did
He
this.
actually-
And then
did
I
this.
started. Actually, made about as much sense without Marvels as it did with. Yeah, this is the Marvels probably the worst.
He also did that during the Little Mermaid.
Oh yeah,
by
we
the
got to
way.
say the worst.
I
Yeah,
didn't
Marvels
know
is
the
obviously the
Little
worst.
Oh, the Marvels is the. Well, I don't know. Is
not
the
even
Marvels
close.
worse than Secret Invasion?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1,000,000,000%.
One's a lot shorter than the other.
Yeah, but I don't care.
Yeah.
No, the Marvels was actually. It hurt. It like gave me an ulcer in my brain.
Here's the thing. I had hope.
It gave me a brain ulcer.
Okay. I thought it was really bad. I did not think it was that. Like,
It
it didn't
gave me-
physic-
it
There
gave
were
me a
movies
brain
like,
ulcer.
There were movies I physically
It was.
repulsed watching
Tucker,
this year, and the Marvels was not one of them.
nothing. Marvels was
I'm not
absolutely
defending
nothing.
it. I'm just saying I did not.
Marvels
like, for-
It was not one of the movies that violently made me hurt.
Marvel, like boiled meat. Like it was nothing. It was so bland, so disgustingly that like it made my brain how garbage all the character arcs, how nothing all the powers are, like how literally none of them have. Only one. Oh no, we got.
Like, okay, Secret Invasion was boring and dumb, but like the story was at least like it made sense. Like one event led to another in a way that made sense. Like I didn't question why characters were necessarily doing. There were some really dumb moments and some really dumb reveals that I disagree with, but the story, like from plot point A to plot point B, I understood the connection between those 2 points. The Marvels is like, all right, okay, so all right, there's cats. Okay, we're singing cats now. Okay, everyone sings now. Okay, Darben's here. Okay, we got another magic gauntlet, even though it's supposed to be from another dimension, but it's not now. And now, okay, now Photon's in another universe. Oh, the Beast is here. Okay, sure. Like it was just so much nonstop stupid. Remember when Nick Fury's like, look at my egg. Guys, look at these eggs I found. I found this egg. Should we think about this? Let's all think about this egg right here.
Remember my wife?
Remember my wife that I don't remember?
Okay, you know, like
Yeah.
climax. It's like
They drew a star.
Here's the thing, they had all those. We're done. Okay?
It
And
makes
then-
a line. We're finished.
because what? Name one character outside of Other than
Darben, the villain. The
was
most
that-
memorable
I didn't even know that
villain.
Was that her name?
That's her real name.
and then they're just
Oh,
like,
Beast was in it. Remember when Beast was in it?
and then freaking retard
Oh my.
restarted.
To cut it
Monica
out.
Rambo
How-
seals herself in another universe for no reason.
Okay.
We're at 119.
Yes,
Well,
I
he has
do
to
have to
bleep
cut
it.
that out.
Anyway,
Monica Rambo is, instead of just sealing it from the other side,
We had a whole episode where we
She's
talked
so
about the Marvels.
yeah, but he wasn't here,
Yeah,
so
I
now
guess
he's
he
getting to
wasn't,
rant
yeah.
about it.
Anyway.
All right, yeah, I think
Best, this is the final time we'll be able to do this award. This is the best DCEU.
Oh yeah,
So,
because it's
The
done.
finale of the DC Extended Universe.
It's DC movie over
and we
now.
have 4 contenders. Shazam, Fury of the Gods, The Flash, Blue Beetle, Aquaman, and The Lost Kingdom.
Ooh, what a good year DC has had.
Okay, basically where we're at is Shazam is here, right? In the middle. I'm not saying in terms of like actual quality, I'm saying in comparison to each other. Like the Blue Beetle is next to it. Blue Beetle is like slightly above it. Aquaman is about on the same level as Shazam.
no,
And then
it's not.
the Flash is like way down here.
Blue Beetle unironically sweeps and clears so easily.
Here's how it is.
Yeah, Blue
It's
Beetle
not
had
even
like
close.
something.
Your chart was wrong. Here's Shazam.
Huh?
Okay, there you go.
Here's Shazam. Aquaman. Other dimension.
You didn't watch that one.
It's not, I don't. You explain the story to me. It's on another plane. These are coplanar. It's on another plane. The Flash. Negative.
Yeah, we would agree on
Negative
that.
stars. Negative 10.
Yeah, out of these ones, like the one I would like most to like not be resistant to rewatching it's Blue.
I would
be willing to watch Blue Beetle again.
I would take a friend. I would take a friend to go see Blue Beetle, and we'd have a fun time.
I wouldn't
Yeah,
make
it was
anyone
fun.
watch the rest of these.
We could not have fun watching any of those
No.
other movies.
Sam was just.
I would just have a headache, honestly. More than anything else, I think that's what I would end up
Remember in Aquaman when like that movie
with.
happened?
Yeah, okay, we got to move on.
Wait, we got to say which one was the worst.
It's
The
the Flash.
Yeah, it's the Flash. Well, yeah, it's the
Yeah,
Flash.
it's the Flash. Okay. This category is going to carry over as the years go on, but there's only one entry this year, so it's the default winner and loser. And that's the best Spunk, the best Sony Pictures Universe of Marvel Characters film.
Oh, does Morbius win?
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is technically the only
Morbius
spum
came out
movie.
last year?
Morbius came out last year, so it's technically the only spum movie this year. Next year, there's, I believe, 4 contenders. So
Oh wow.
we'll have plenty to go
Morbius
on
2?
next year. But
Please
no.
tell me they're making.
no, none of them are
No.
Morbius 2. We're ready to go.
Although Craven,
By the way-
Craven is basically
Why?
Morbius.
By the way, El Muerto it was originally supposed to come out
in
2
12
weeks.
days.
Yeah,
Its original release date was January 12th.
yeah.
Unfortunately, El Muerto was not finished,
Not finished. It'll never exist.
and nor will it ever be finished.
But Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, sure, you win. Congratulations. You're also
that
the
was
worst one by default. All right.
yeah, it was really good.
Best Star Wars.
Oh, there's more than
The
one Star
Mandalorian
Wars thing?
Season 3.
Oh, these are shows.
Who
Hold your mic closer.
Nickelodeon?
Ninja Turtles was really. Oh, I should put that
We'll
on my
talk
list.
about it. It's another.
Yeah.
I don't think it was top 5.
Best Star Wars. Mandalorian Season 3, Bad Batch Season 2, Ahsoka Season 1, and The Creator.
We should not count the creator as a Star
I put that
Wars.
in as a meme.
Yes, I got it, but that
I
does
could
not.
I
It's not
should've
even.
put, dang it, I should have put Rebel Moon in here. Rebel Moon is Star Wars.
This year.
What do they
Bad
even-
Batch Season 2 did come out this year. I double checked
Can
because I forgot.
Can
but it did.
anyone name a single thing that happened in Bad Batch season 2?
Tech
They're the
dies.
bad
Did I
batch.
what? Oh yeah, Tech dies. What else
Bad
happened?
Batch, man.
I don't remember a single episode of the Bad
I
Batch.
remember it being better than the first season.
Yeah, but the first season only had
I
2
remember
episodes.
it being pretty strong. I remember it being fine.
The first season of Bad Batch had 2 episodes, and the rest aren't real. And same with this season. It had 2 episodes, and the rest aren't real.
Bad Batch.
God, none of these are. I might actually be the Bad Batch.
Mandalorian season 3. What happens?
It was not. It was not good. We're being perfectly honest with
I don't
ourselves.
remember what happened.
At best, it was fine.
Can we recap, please?
Yeah, I'm
No.
trying to.
If we can't do this every.
Yeah,
category,
we're
guys.
only an hour in. We have
I know, but we
plenty of
still-
time.
We have categories.
I think. Wait, when did it? Andor? No, was Andor?
Andor was last
2022?
year. Yes.
No,
I double
okay.
checked.
Shoot,
I don't
That would have been the
even-
default easy
Shoot.
winner, unfortunately.
I gotta give it to
watched
Ahsoka.
the mo-
Ahsoka was pretty good. I really enjoyed Ahsoka. I know you don't like it because you don't like Star Wars when like Star Wars does Star Wars things. I kind of like it when Star Wars does Star Wars things. I like Ahsoka.
I didn't hate it. I just thought it was honestly my biggest problem with Ahsoka was not its like lore stuff. It was like just like a basic like screenwriting and directing.
Like
stuff
I
that didn't
remember
get
way
developed.
Ahsoka's way more memorable to me than Bad Batch was.
But also Bad Batch came out in like January and Ahsoka came out like way more recent. So that's probably a big
No, but,
factor
like,
in that.
I remember almost everything that happened in Ahsoka. I literally did not remember Bad Batch season 2 even came
I
out.
don't think I watched any.
I'm not entirely sure if I finished Bad Batch season 2. Like to be honest, I can't remember.
I
what
know you
happened.
did because we talked about the ending.
I
when it
know
came
we
out.
did, but I can't remember what happened.
Bad Batch shit.
Yeah, I think it
honestly,
should be
I might
too,
pick
actually.
the Bad Batch.
I gotta go Ahsoka. Ahsoka was just
Yeah, I'm gonna
good.
Go
Like, Ahsoka was
I haven't
fun.
watched any of
because like
Yeah.
Ahsoka,
and her lightsaber.
and I'm so curious to see what they do.
I am curious to see where he goes with
And
it.
dude, the Thrawn reveal, that was so
John
cool
recap
when he
Ahsoka
comes out and they're
No.
like Thrawn, and they got that weird armor and they got like bandages on it. That was sick. The dude with the golden face, I don't know what his deal is. That was
Remember-
sick.
Yeah, what was he? Why was he
See,
there?
I kind of like it when Star Wars does a thing where they
Where
have
they
like
throw in a guy who's obviously
they
meant
have
to just be an action
one
figure.
trooper who just looks cooler than the other ones, and I like it. Like Boba Fett was just a trooper that looks cooler.
I
than
think
the
you
other
might
ones.
just have a love for reading Wikipedia articles.
I
that is-
I don't read
I'm,
Wikipedia
I'm
ever.
joking. That's obviously a thing that Star Wars is really like. We'll make a weird looking guy. So
Yeah,
he can be an
and,
action
like-
figure, and we'll just have some guy write what he is like a visual.
I'm still
dictionary to
very curious what like
I'm gonna
the
have to see-
villain's deal is like because we didn't really get to learn a whole lot about like what his actual motivation was.
Oh, Beardy.
Yeah, I can't remember his name right now either.
I don't
But
remember his name.
but I remember he was a very memorable. Like I remember his performance. Like I don't remember his name because I don't really say it. I think they say it like once.
Wait, oh my God.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I knew this was gonna end up happening.
No, I swear.
Where it's just gonna
No, I
turn
swear.
by the end of this, we're just gonna be like, "Did Singing in the Rain come out this year?"
I gotta give it to Ahsoka. There were so many cool moments in Ahsoka. Ezra came back. That was fun. I don't even really like Ezra that much, but he's just been gone for so long. I'm like, all right, come on in. Come on in. Give me a hug, buddy.
I'm gonna say it was the Bad Batch. None of these were great. Andor is so much better than
Honestly,
all of
these
these.
Yeah, okay, but that's not fair.
I know. I'm just saying.
All of these.
Mosep
He's
He's
Benid.
on our set. You can't
He's
see
up.
him.
He's
but
up there now.
we got Mosep Benid up there.
He's in
Oh, is
my
that your
apartment.
apartment?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on. So,
Oh, what's the worst?
God, it's.
I mean, there were only
I
three.
guess it's the Mandalorian.
I guess it's
None of
Mandalorian,
them are
but it wasn't that
I
bad,
don't think
yeah.
any of them are bad. I just think like they're like all mid.
Yeah.
It's like best of the mid.
I didn't think I.
And when Anakin shows up,
I think Mandalorian was probably.
yeah, it was. It wasn't that bad. It was
Yeah,
just
but
not
again.
very
It wasn't
interesting.
bad. It did not.
It did not meet the
I
hype.
feel like the show should have gone in another
I
direction,
can't
Yeah, I
remember if
agree.
watched it or not.
and it feels like they were just kind of.
It was when they
burning-
did the War for Mandalore stuff, and
They were spinning their wheels and killing time. For the most
Bo-Katan
part.
was the main character for the whole season.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's a big
I think I
hanger.
watched-
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Best horror. I was going through these. You guys actually saw most of them.
Oh, okay.
Cocaine Bear: The Last
That's
Voyage
horror?
of the Demeter.
How is that
I would
horror?
consider that or at least like somewhat. It's a
It's a
horror
thriller.
comedy.
Maybe.
It's a thriller, not a-
Whatever.
Bo is Afraid, Godzilla -1, Evil Dead Rise, Talk to Me, The Exorcist Believer, Thanksgiving, Renfield, Mithrigan, Knock at the Cabin, Scream 6. I'm gonna say
It's Godzilla
Okay,
easily.
Godzilla-
Like, what do you
no,
mean?
Godzilla's not
Okay, but if we're
I put it in there.
there's
It's
some
got
horror.
a lot of horror
It's-
elements in it.
Okay,
very borderline.
no, hang on.
It's about a big monster that shows up and a bunch of people are
I would
scared.
argue.
It's not a big monster.
I would argue it's more closer to like cosmic horror, where like because the horror aspect of cosmic horror is that there is an entity that is so powerful and so undefeatable that like you can barely even comprehend how to like think about it, much less defeat it. Like I think Godzilla kind of falls into that category.
For an actual horror movie.
That was the best.
The best one?
Nothing.
What are the other options?
I just read them all out
I'm
to
saying,
you.
I think
Godzilla-
Megan was better
I'm
than-
not counting Godzilla as a horror.
Cocaine Bear,
That's not a horror.
Voyage of the Demeter, which was the Dracula boat.
That
Oh, that was
sucks.
number one.
That movie was
Bo
so
is
bad.
Afraid, which you guys didn't
I
see.
didn't see that.
Evil Dead Rise, Talk to Me, Exorcist Believer, Thanksgiving, Renfield, Mithrigan, Knock at the
Hey,
Cabin.
I didn't see a lot of those.
Eliminate Godzilla.
I think Godzilla fits into the horror category more than a lot of like what other would it be? Well, then pick that one. That's
yeah,
fine.
I got it. It's Godzilla. If it's in the same,
I'm gonna
it's
say
Godzilla. Godzilla wins.
you guys didn't
Actual
see
horror
it.
movies,
But Talk to Me was really, really good.
I heard it was really good, but I haven't seen it.
It's an Australian movie. It's
If
really,
I saw it, I'd probably say that.
No,
but I haven't
like-
seen it.
that one actually made me like have to look away from the screen.
Oh wait, is that the
So
one where
I
like
think it's that one.
is that the one where it's just so awkward that it's like hard to watch?
No, I don't know.
I think I heard someone
It's
like
about
reviewing
some
it.
kids that have a magic. They find like a evil, spooky hand, and it possesses them. It's really good. You should watch it.
I have not seen Spooky.
It's got a really, really, really.
Was that the one with
raw
the
scene.
eyeball? The eyeball scene you said was scary.
Yeah. There's a spoilers at one
is
point.
that the one?
At one point, a kid gets possessed and just violently bashes his head on like a countertop, and his face gets like all
Is that
jacked
the
up.
one
Ooh,
where it's,
that's
like, where
gross.
it's,
No, that's Halloween.
it's like-
Anyway, which one's the worst one, by the way? It's The Exorcist Believer.
Oh
Moving
yeah,
on.
it's not even close. Exorcist Believer was one of the worst.
Best
movies I've ever seen.
animated feature. Evil Dead Rise was good too. If I had to pick like a second, I think it would be best animated feature. A lot of solid
Wait, I just
contenders.
gotta say something. How much money? There is so much.
I have not
If
seen
they-
Evil Dead
if
Rise.
That much. They would have died in seconds.
They wait.
Like, gallons and gallons.
Was it like
Gallons and
anime
gallons
blood
of
where like they
Almost.
hit a
Sam,
wall and they
they
just
cover like
splat?
several floors of a building.
Okay,
in blood.
you haven't seen anime
No,
though.
Sam, I've seen anime blood. No, the entire apartment is like a pool.
Yeah.
It's a literal-
The whole building
like,
is
the
covered in
whole-
blood.
Yeah, the whole building is just covered in blood.
It's like Chainsaw Man amounts of blood.
More than that.
More than
More than
Chainsaw Man.
Because it's-
He
Well, there is
bleeds
a woman
everywhere
with a
every time he
chainsaw in the
activates his
'cause that one's like-
chainsaws.
That one's like. I don't know, this one's
No,
just.
I
like,
really liked
this
Evil Dead
one's
Rise.
just
That
like
was a
literal
good-
hose. Just filling it
Evil
up.
Dead Rise was one of the most fun theater experiences I had this year.
was
Seeing that in a
really
theater was really cool.
I have
That
not seen
title
it.
card, dude. That was pretty sick.
I
dog.
haven't
Shove
seen
him
it. I
in
don't know
the
what that
witch
means.
Yeah, they shove a guy in a witch.
All right, what's what's
Best
next?
animated feature: Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem, the Super Mario Bros. Movie, The Boy and the Heron, Disney's Wish, Nimona, which is a Netflix movie, Leo, another Netflix movie, Elemental, Ruby Gilman, Teenage Kraken,
It did
Migration,
not come out. That's not
Leo.
real.
I put Leo on here twice. Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget, and Suzume. Did you see that one?
I did see Suzume.
I thought you would. I
In
didn't
terms of
even know. I
Makoto
just assumed.
Shinkai films, it was like okay. It wasn't my favorite. It was okay, but it was like
Okay,
it wasn't as good as those other ones.
hot take. I did not love Across the Spider-Verse. In fact, I might look crazy and put Ninja Turtles as my.
Honestly,
wouldn't
I'd be okay with
advocate
that
for but I
Yeah.
think,
because Spider Verse
Hold on.
wasn't a whole movie.
Yeah, it's not a whole movie.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
that was my main.
So
thing
that's
with it.
yeah, I agree with that.
But when half the
And Ninja Turtles was so good.
Ninja Turtles was a lot of.
It
fun.
was so good. Like we kind of forget how good that movie was.
Yeah,
I really like Boy and the Heron too. Like the more I've thought about it, the more I really
I thought it
like
was all right.
it was good.
Are you trying
Because
to call Patrick
yeah, he
right
was
now?
he was going to.
We have to
Like,
talk about
okay,
migration.
Because like I thought about it on the way home, and I was like, if you look at the movie as like from like Miyazaki, like the movie is very much the story of like him passing on like his legacy to his kid,
Their boy
and his
would
kid.
pass it on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but his kid also doesn't really want to do what he does. That's like part of the movie.
I mean,
That's
it
part
was
of his
good.
life.
It was just like,
Yeah,
but it was good.
I thought. Yeah, a lot of these were really impressive, just animation wise. But
What else?
Spider-Verse, Ninja Turtles, Mario,
I think I was
Wish.
more.
Give me the real contender.
Elemental, Migration, Suzume. I think I'm gonna pick Ninja Turtles.
I think we got to give it to Ninja Turtles.
was- I saw it I was at Walmart earlier and I saw they had it on Blu-ray and it was on like $15. I was really.
I think we got to give it to Ninja Turtles, but whenever Spider-Verse Part 2 comes out, I think that'll
Okay, I
sweep.
think probably
That's what I need. I need to see if like the first half goes. Anywhere.
Yeah, I need to see.
Because there's a lot going
I need to see
on
the
in
build up.
that, and it doesn't all like.
Yeah, remember
connect.
when Miguel is a vampire,
Remember when he has a cape?
and then they never ever mention the
okay.
fact that he's a vampire again?
Here's the thing.
He tries to suck a dude's blood
That one time.
one time,
Just
and
that
it
one
never
time.
comes up
Probably,
again.
I'm thinking probably as like a whole movie. I think Spider-Verse. Better.
Yeah, I
Partly
agree.
because it's a standalone thing. Also because like
I think I'm gonna go with.
Yeah,
Ninja
I think
Turtles.
I think we agree. I think it's got to be
it was
Ninja
fun.
Turtles.
It was nice. To look.
Also, that ad is really funny when it would just show up on screen and it was
Yeah,
silent
and it would just hold.
in the theater, and it was just like a PNG of like an ad for.
I
the
also
Ninja
liked the
Turtles
Cinemark
thing.
little like setup they had in the building, and it was just like
Yeah, that was cute. That was
it was
fun.
a room with a punching bag in it.
Yeah, but they had those big plastic like key whatever those are.
Yeah,
those
yeah.
were sick. That was a fun thing.
All right, best action movie, no comic book stuff, just straight.
Not
action.
comic book, just action movie.
You have John Wick Chapter 4, Plane, The Killer, Mission
Plane is
Impossible.
on the list for real.
I put it on here. Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 1, The Creator, Fast X, Dungeons and Dragons, Equalizer 3, Indiana Jones 5, Expendables 4, and Ghosted. They have
Okay, if it's best action,
For horror, you didn't.
Golden Girl.
yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. I think if we're talking pure action, it's got to be John Wick. No one does action like John Wick.
Yeah, I mean, if you want the most action, it's definitely John Wick.
Like in
'cause
terms
there's
of
nothing
tight,
else in
if
it.
you want tight choreography, cool fights.
I mean, yeah.
Like it's John Wick. It's not nothing touches John Wick.
However, what about Fast X though?
Oh, totally killed.
I did watch that. I didn't put it on there.
You didn't like it?
What's yeah, no. Like Mission Impossible is really cool, but the action is not as tight.
That's the only one that-
The action is not as tight as John Wick.
Oh no, it was Plane.
The Killer was really good too.
I didn't. What is The Killer? I didn't.
That was David Fincher's movie. It's on Netflix.
I
No,
didn't see
I'm
that.
actually locking in.
The Killer is actually really
That's
funny.
really dumb.
Are you actually saying Plane?
What are you talking
It was
about?
so fun.
But it's
It was
not.
not.
We're ranking.
It was just
action.
like okay.
It's action. Like if we're ranking the action category based on the best
Best
action,
quality action. It's
It's John Wick.
Yeah, I
It-
mean,
it-
it's not gonna get.
it's
it
not
in
even
there.
close.
Did you
But
not?
you've seen the
he
other
didn't.
ones.
Yeah, he's right. Our dad saw it, but Max didn't.
If you've seen it, I mean, they're basically all the same, but they're untouchable. Like the action
No,
is
John Wick 4,
nuts.
I think like visually took it to another. I mean, there's
Yeah,
that
it
whole,
was
like,
crazy,
There was that whole Hotline Miami.
dude. The
top-down.
club. Yeah, the part where it's like top down and he's shooting the fire shotgun. That was nuts.
Yeah. Okay, I think this is the best. This is one of my first favorite categories. We have best CEO.
As CEO,
Best CEO of a major brand.
I didn't know
or
we were doing
company.
this.
David Zaslav
He's
from
the
Warner Brothers
Warner Brothers
Discovery.
guy.
Bob Iger for Disney.
Disney.
Ted Sarandos for Netflix. And elongated muskrat for Twitter.
Oh wait, are we ranked? What best or worst?
What was the best one?
Like as a
Who's the
person,
best
like
at
business
being the worst?
decisions.
Who's the best at
Well,
being the
Elon
worst?
easily, but like what's
Is he better than David Zaslav?
he makes way more confusing decisions than David Zaslav does.
He's the head of Warner Brothers.
He writes off DC movies for taxes.
He writes
That's-
off all of his movies for taxes.
Yeah,
And says really
He makes
dumb
DC
things all the
and
time.
he makes DCEU.
Uh-huh.
Okay, but Elon Musk did Twitter, and that was weird.
Okay.
Yeah, but in terms of like impact on global,
In terms of like, okay, we have to think about it two ways. Like, who's the weirdest guy in public, and who's like making genuinely bad business decisions, and how is he still employed? Because I think that's David Zaslav.
Probably, yeah.
How is this man have a job?
yeah, because no one can fire
Warner
Elon.
Brothers is losing billions constantly. He keeps saying complete contradictory things. He's a weirdo. He does weird things all the time.
Yeah, David Zaslav is definitely like
Like Elon Musk. Elon Musk says real dumb things, like a lot.
yeah.
But like his businesses are like semi-successful.
I mean, Tesla's.
Yeah.
Yeah, sort of.
In
Yeah.
Twitter, he was just like kind of.
Tesla's stock is really successful. As a car company, they are actually like not very good. Like they don't actually sell very many cars. But not like anymore. They're like basically the same price as most cars.
because of the strikes and because of writing movies off for taxes. And
Yeah,
because
it's
of the
got to be
fact
David.
That he's just stripping the company and selling it to Paramount.
I thought this was.
I think it's David Zaslav.
No, it's like
It's best as in like it's joke, like because there is no who's the best CEO. Like actually, is there a good one?
well, it would just be whichever one just
the
made
best
the most
CEO
money.
is the one that wouldn't be in the,
No,
that no
the-
one would talk about.
The best CEO is just whichever one makes the most money.
Yeah, which is Bob Iger.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Which
Bob
is-
Iger wins.
Yeah,
But,
but
like,
David
well,
Zaslav's the funniest.
Wait a
guy.
minute. No, wait.
Wish, though.
Wait, does David Zaslav also make the most money because of Barbie this year?
No, Bob Iger just got like a massive pay raise.
No. I don't mean gets paid the most. I mean makes his company
like
the
his
most
company
money.
made
Yeah.
the most. Well, Disney made all that money from those theme parks. I think it's David Zaslav.
Yeah, he was
Here.
definitely he made
Alright.
the most dumb decisions.
Best sequel.
He chose to release The Flash. He saw The Flash and was like,
I did
yes,
see The Flash.
send this out.
Best sequel. Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Spider-Verse 2, Indiana Jones 5, Mission Impossible 7, Creed 3, Shazam 2, Aquaman 2, Fast and Furious 10, Captain Marvel 2, John Wick 4. What a year.
Guardians easy.
Yeah.
Guardians kind of clears. Yeah, best like
straight up sequel, yeah.
It
Loki's
said that was a
show.
TV show.
This is movies.
We can't do every season 2
Yeah.
of every TV show. That'd be
That doesn't-
ridiculous. Yeah, it's Guardians. It's easily Guardians.
What about Creed 3?
I
That
forgot
was a good
everything
movie,
that happens
but,
in Creed 3.
And now it has a sex criminal in it.
Remember in Creed
Not a
3
sex
when those
criminal, a
two
regular
guys
criminal.
box? Remember when it
Yes.
turns into anime?
What's the worst sequel?
Read the list again.
Guardians 3, Spider-Verse 2,
Marvels.
Indiana Jones 5, Mission Impossible 7, Creed 3, Shazam 2, Aquaman 2, Fast and Furious 10, Captain Marvel 2, John Wick 4.
Yeah, it's got to be the Marvels.
What about Fast and Furious, though?
Okay, but Fast and Furious is like just as dumb as the
We had
last one.
we had a
It
pretty good
doesn't-
time watching.
I'm talking about like step down from the first one. It's got to be the Marvels. Because the first Captain Marvel, I did not have a lot of fun, but as a Marvel movie, it was very average.
Did we have more fun watching Mission?
Because the first
That's a
Shazam-
pretty
Oh,
big
you're
step
right.
down, yeah.
Yeah.
Shazam I would watch twice. Maybe. Second Shazam,
That ending
was
just
just
ruins the
bad.
movie for me. It like
it was
honestly, the movie wasn't even that bad until the end.
it was like a rough draft for the. Like it felt like. It was just,
Yeah.
like, not.
And they also didn't follow up on any of the stuff that they set up.
Mm.
There was no.
All right. Best reboot: Evil Dead Rise, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem, Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves,
Wait,
Transformers:
oh
Rise of the
yeah,
Beasts, Haunted Mansion, Exorcist Believer.
I got it.
was a
It's
reboot.
got to be D&D.
Oh yeah, I'm saying that.
No, because you don't understand how bad the first D&D movie was. No, it's
Wait, but are we doing-
incomprehensibly
My
bad.
category for
Wait,
reboot
wait.
is if it had a previous version
Wait.
and
but
they did it again.
Are we saying the biggest step up?
Yeah,
or
biggest
just-
step up.
Just.
Because Ninja
best-
Turtles has been good
But,
before.
well, hold on though. Is best
Okay,
of these or the
Which of
biggest
these?
step up?
Which of these was best at rebooting their property?
Let's
Got
say team.
But TMNT has always been popular.
No, but yeah, but
But
this. But
the
this has
last,
really
but like
brought it
most
to
of the
attention.
movies they've done, I would say pretty much all of the movies they've done are really bad.
And this
Yeah,
was,
that's
like, really
true.
brought it to attention. Like Dungeons and Dragons, if you ask most
Yeah, no, they would think. Like,
Yeah, because it's
but also like,
insane.
but also
terrible.
D&D was like not like this new one was not very popular. Like it didn't do
That's
a very
true.
good job like reigniting.
But
the
again,
brand.
I don't think we're rating based on popularity. We're rating
I'm
based
saying
on
which one
good.
did the best job at like bringing this IP
Oh, well,
back.
But Ninja Turtles never really went away. That's what I'm saying. Like it didn't really bring it back because it didn't really go away.
I mean,
It went away from theaters because the last two didn't.
Yeah,
do very well.
theaters,
And
but
it's
like
been a
the
really-
toys
it's been-
in the show has always been
It's
popular.
been a while since the last movie too.
But again, I'm talking about just the brand in general. Like this, Ninja Turtles has never been popular because of the movies. It's
Yeah,
always
but-
been
but
popular
Sam,
because of the
here's the thing.
shows.
Okay, but what brought D&D back? Was it the D&D movie or was it Stranger Things? Which one was the real D&D?
I mean,
reboot, if
really,
we're
it
being
was
honest here?
Critical Role, but
And
yeah.
also, how many people that went to already know?
That's true.
That's true, but
I don't
you
think
can also
there
say
was
that
pretty
about
much
Because, like,
anyone who saw
TMNT
D&D who wasn't already a
TMNT,
D&D.
a lot of kid, like it was a kid movie.
But we're
Most
not
of the
big
kids-
Ninja Turtles guys
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, like and a lot of the kids.
who probably weren't
Haven't
watching
really
it
seen
before. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll give it. I think Ninja Turtles is the best. I just wanted to mention how bad the first.
All right,
was
what's the worst reboot? It's Exorcist. Moving on.
Yeah,
Best prequel: Wonka or the Hunger Games prequel that we didn't watch? Yes, it's Wonka.
but Wonka's a really bad
I didn't
prequel.
see-
It is. It doesn't work. It doesn't line up at all.
It's a super fun movie. I would say it's a great
Okay,
movie,
I say
but
we-
it's not a good prequel.
I say we give this
Hunger
award to a movie we
Games.
haven't seen.
Hunger Games.
No,
because
because
I'm
the
saying
girl is
Hunger
hot.
Games.
Rachel Zegler?
That's true.
Yeah,
I
but
would say
Timothy
she's hotter
Chalamet
than
is
Timothy
also
Chalamet.
Yeah, but I'm not.
Timothy Chalamet
I'm
is.
not a part of that community. So I'm gonna say
Yeah,
it's
I'm saying Hunger Games.
All right, I mean, yeah, I guess
We're getting
sure,
into
Hunger
a
Games.
movie
Like,
we
why would
didn't
we do
watch.
They're
that?
hungry for something here.
Yeah, they're hungry for chocolate.
That's true. All right. Best movie Patrick probably saw.
Okay, well, we know what he's seen, so we'll just say what the best one is
Fast
since
X,
he's not answering. his
Migration,
phone.
Maestro, Guardians 3, Spider-Verse.
Probably Guardians 3.
He told me he liked Guardians 3 the best.
Yeah,
so-
okay, cool. Guardians 3. Okay, great.
He said Guardians 3 or Maestro.
I mean, none of us have seen Maestro.
Yeah. That's the Leonard Bernstein biopic.
He doesn't know who. I don't know.
He's
who
a famous
Leonard Bernstein is.
composer from the
Okay, well that makes sense. Why
50
Patrick.
years ago.
That makes sense. Why Patrick would know.
Best. Okay, this is our final award. Our final category before we get into our personal picks.
Yes.
Our final category. Best comic book movie.
Oh, wait.
Okay? Best comic book movie. We got Guardians 3, Spider-Verse 2, Ant-Man 3, The Flash, Aquaman 2, Blue Beetle, The Marvels. Shazam.
Guardians.
Yeah, it's got to be
Is
Guardians.
it Guardians
3.
or is it Spider-Verse?
It's Guardians 3.
Guardians was-
Because Spider-Verse was really awesome. Oh, wait a minute. Is Ninja Turtles a comic book movie?
Oh, I should have put that in here. Yeah, I guess it's in here.
Yeah, but I don't think it's.
Yeah, I still got to say Guardians.
I gotta say Guardians.
Because Guardians is completely
Guardians.
like a.
Okay. All right. Now
Yeah.
let's do. We each prepared
All right, we each got a list.
top 5 best and worst of
Yes.
the year. Just to be clear, before we go, I thought I'd list all of the movies we didn't watch that everyone says are really good. Okay?
Honorable mentions because
Honorable
we haven't
mentions
seen
to
them.
things we haven't seen. All right, it's a long list. These we have not seen either because we haven't had a chance to, or they're just straight up not playing in our area. 4 Things, Anatomy of a Fall, Past Lives, Rye Lane, Saltburn, Priscilla, How to Blow Up a Pipeline, Fair Play,
What on earth is
1001,
How to Blow Up a Pipeline?
You Hurt My Feelings, Bottoms, The Zone of Interest, American Fiction, Maestro, Origin, Rustin, The Color Purple, Ferrari, Are You There, God, It's Me, Margaret, All of Us Strangers, Dream Scenario, and Flora Inside. All right, we didn't see any of those.
Dream Scenario's already out?
It's been out for like 2 months.
Oh.
No way.
Yeah, I thought we wanted to see
No,
that.
we saw a trailer.
We did. I think we talked about it, but we never.
Huh.
We saw a trailer like literally.
We just go to the movies.
Yeah,
we saw
I blended it
before-
together.
what was it?
No, I think the last time we saw the trailer was before Holdovers.
Yeah, and that was like 2.
All right, anyway.
Anyway, Sam or Max, who you guys want to?
I'll go first.
Max, go first. You want to do your worst first or your best? I think we should do our worst first.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Start from the
starting at
bottom.
number
Oh,
5.
you know what? Let's just do all of our numbers one at a time. So you say what our number 5, and we'll just go. all
No,
the way
that's
up
gonna
to-
take forever.
No, then we'll all do it.
Yeah,
at
wait,
once.
yeah,
I
no,
wanna
because
do
that way
mine.
we'll build. That way we'll build.
That
up.
way, if we have
Yeah.
repeats, we can discuss it together.
I don't.
All right, number 5. What's Max's number 5?
I didn't see it. No, I'm done with that. Sam described the plot to me. That I can. That it was.
Okay, say what was your number 5?
My number 5 was Transformers. Whatever of the
Really?
beast.
That movie wasn't really that.
That
bad.
low.
I think it's
Where it
been.
made your
hang on.
worst of the year.
Hang on.
Wait.
I think it's been a little bit of time. It's been too long since we've seen this movie. I don't think you guys remember how unabashedly terrible this movie
It
was.
wasn't
It's
that
not
bad.
that bad.
Bumblebee
it.
dies.
It really wasn't.
Bumblebee dies at the beginning,
I
I
know.
saw it
even
twice.
though it's a sequel to his movie,
Yep.
and then magically gets revived because he was sitting on a magic couch.
Do you remember the magic couch?
There was a rock that builds an evil tower that summons Transformer Devil, and he was controlling a guy who had dark energy that made him
But
invincible. They say it just makes him invincible. How? I don't know. So much of that. Remember when the guy gets an Iron Man suit? Remember that part?
Yeah,
That was really dumb.
It was not that
I mean,
bad
it
though.
makes
It
sense,
was
though.
like
That's why
fine.
it's at number 5 because this movie was
Okay,
really really dumb.
But you
it
gotta
wasn't
compare it to
that
the
bad.
other Transformers movies.
The other
which is-
Transformers
it's,
movies
it's
are
the best of those ones though.
no,
Not
it's
counting
not.
Bumblebee.
No, it's not the best of
I do
those.
think-
let's just get distance.
All right, Max. What? For my number 5, I put a movie you guys didn't watch. Rebel Moon Part 1: A Child of
Yeah, I
Fire.
haven't seen that. I have no idea.
Alright, cool. Move on.
No, it's just.
It's a Zack Snyder
It's
movie.
so boring and repetitive and just not interesting, and there's no good world building, which seems like the whole point of it.
Because they tried to steal the
And
Star
he's
Wars. world.
obviously just doing this so that he can release his real cut in 2 months that's like 4 hours long. Yeah, no, just not an enjoyable time, a complete waste of money and time and investment.
Okay, great. What's your
Max,
number 4?
what's your number
Max?
4?
You know,
What's a
I
minute?
didn't
Okay.
hate this movie that much, but there was no content. There was absolutely all red.
My number 4 is The Exorcist Believer.
Okay.
That movie, we've talked at length about
Yeah,
Exorcist
I believe our
Believer.
episode, I think when we talked about it, we literally talked about it for about an hour.
It's so bad. It's hard for me to like explain all the reasons
I'll
why
give
it's
you a
so
hint.
bad.
It's on my list.
It's real bad. All right, Tucker, you go ahead and do your.
My number 4 is The Flash.
Really?
That's pretty
Yeah.
low.
I saw some bad crap. No, The Flash I thought was gross to look at, a complete embarrassment for everyone involved, and like morally reprehensible.
Yeah.
Like
I
it
agree.
did actual immoral things.
Oh, and I mean, not even to mention the movie's doing bad things, but also Ezra
The
Miller's
guy
in
in
it.
it. I mean, if we're gonna, Max's list has 2 movies with stars who have committed actual crimes.
Alrighty, Max.
But no,
go ahead and
like the Flash, like just the worst part. I think the worst part, or like a part that should factor into like a really terrible movie, is that it has something good in it that is dropped to do something like.
Yeah, I'll talk
horrible.
about the Flash more because it's on my list as well.
Okay, Max, what was your number 3?
Got little.
Okay, I don't. That's a little ridiculous.
No, hold on.
Again, you didn't even watch it.
No, he
No, I
did. He
didn't
did.
You were on your phone.
Because of how painfully boring this movie is. It would have literally it would pain the whole body to watch.
Okay, to be fair,
No.
Aquafina does sing a song. in
How-
this movie.
okay.
And they butchered.
We got to
And
think
it
about it
really-
this way.
It's also because of how easy.
Yeah, they just made it worse for
but
no
instead,
reason.
Made it so rather in Lego set of a tower, like a small like it's like the $10 version instead of the $3 version. They go into this 5 people. They're like, "Hey, did you get me?"
Oh,
It
Ursula.
looks dis- You know, I'm gonna applaud them for. Like a giant purple
I
cat.
feel like we have to partially factor in each of our individual Little Mermaid opinions on the fact that we saw it during the summer in Texas and the AC.
Yeah, and the
broken
AC in the theater
And
was
the AC
broken.
dude. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was a bad experience. All right.
And we saw it at like 10:45 at night, so we were all very tired.
Yeah.
Yeah, not good.
Alrighty. My number 3, to no one's surprise, I'm sure, is The Marvels.
Okay.
This movie.
I'm surprised it's not
my
higher.
God. This movie is so bad. Oh my God. Holy crap. Oh my goodness. This is the worst Marvel movie, but it's not even free.
Fun
it's
fact,
not even
it's
remotely
not even on my
sort
list.
of close. I don't even like. Where do I start? Where do I start? From the beginning, there are like very textbook continuity errors with like what characters are like wearing. Like that's
Yeah, just editing mistakes.
embarrassing. Like, this is a Marvel movie. Like, from a technical perspective, even if the story sucks, it should be clean. And it's like there are just problems. Nick Fury, his character, completely destroyed, and he needed a character recovery because his character was already pretty jacked up from Secret Invasion. He needed like a let's make him a little cooler now. He was kind of stupid, but now let's get him up. Move him up a bit. No, he got even dumber. I guess he has dementia. He's like just completely lobotomized. It's just like, oh, Darben. Need I say more? Probably, because no one remembers who she is.
Yeah, again, if you hadn't said it later, I wouldn't know who that is, who you're talking about right now.
Just there's so much of this movie. It represents the death of Marvel. Like, if Loki to me represented the end of Marvel story-wise, this represents to me the death of
Like
Marvel
it's reanimated
business-wise.
corpse, like
Yeah.
walking around.
Alrighty, go ahead. What's your
Okay,
number
my
3?
number 3 was The Exorcist Believer. So I think that movie was just an embarrassing follow-up, a terrible, god-awful screenplay, a terrible choice to direct it. I thought it was about nothing. The theme of the movie is the dumbest thing. It's just like this boneless, spineless, just like shell of a concept. Exorcist Believer. Just a massive waste of talent and time, and like the ultimate corporate decision of this movie that is intrinsically about religion and faith.
De-religifying
just
the religion
suck
movie.
all of that out to make it just like this vague, like secular movie about getting together with your neighbors and screaming.
It's
at
like if a
possessed
Catholic
child.
priest gave a sermon about how unnecessary the church is.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, then why are you here, dude?
And they could have they literally could have just made a movie about that. They could have made a movie about like faith and religion and like its negatives and positives. Like that would have been something. It's the fact that they just
say nothing.
They choose nothing. And so it's just, it's a big, there's no substance to it. And the whole movie acts like it's saying something and it's saying absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And I hate, and just that original is so good. And it's so well made.
It
and
has
acted.
the belief structure of like some middle-aged like white dude who went to like India and like became spiritual and then came back. Like it has nothing to say. It's a nothing movie.
Like you're gonna make an exorcist movie, which is about Catholic priests doing an exorcism on a demon, and none of the people you're gonna hire.
Yeah, there's a demon and they run on it like
you're gonna
like
pick.
a
You're gonna do
treadmill.
that, and you're gonna pick a team of 4 atheists to do your movie about religion. Like, what do you even? And it's so
That's like
obvious.
doing, that's
It's
like
so
doing one of
obvious
those
that the
cop
people
shows.
making it don't know anything about religion, and they think they're so smart for like tackling all these different ones, but they know nothing about any of them. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, you did.
Oh my gosh,
Read the list.
He's modifying his list
Alright,
in real
Max.
time.
Well,
Actually,
what's your number 2? We'll just keep it with the same.
Yeah.
Me and Sam both have it.
that's like my number 2.
Okay.
Now this movie,
Yeah.
I don't like this movie. Okay, number 1. It's not number 1. But I think the reason.
It might be the most
Because-
overhyped movie of all time.
Because this was like Oppenheimer, but like Oppenheimer.
Yeah, but Oppenheimer hype was like people. The Flash hype was like people being
Corporate,
paid by
yeah.
Warner Brothers to say it's good. I don't know if you could call that hype. I think that's just marketing.
Reason number 2, because now I haven't seen, but I know that if I did, I would. A trigger warning. I might seriously. After the movie, I think I would be so bored, so disgusted. I would probably.
So
Some
gross
type
to
of
look
self-harm.
at. I remember we went into the theater to see that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the opening scene is like him at the coffee place or whatever, and we're like, all right, whatever. And then as soon as he starts running,
It like
Dude,
turns
no.
into Looney Tunes.
the whole like everyone in the theater collectively was like, oh no.
Just his running stance.
No,
Physically painful.
the energy of the theater completely changed after that
everyone
scene.
went like, oh God.
We were all like, oh no, this is the kind
Except
of
for
ride
that
we're
one
on.
guy.
There was
One
one
of
guy.
the worst theater experiences
Dude,
we had
that guy
all
was
year.
crazy.
There was one guy in front of us, this absolute crackhead.
He was paid
who
by Warner Brothers.
Who was knee slapping every time there was a joke.
That guy was a plant.
That
guy was
a
paid by
plant.
Warner
Was that
Brothers.
movie where the guy
He
right
jumped
next
over
to
the
me-
thing?
No. There was a guy right. Was that? I think I like.
Yeah. There was that guy too who was big
Yeah.
and fat and smelled. Yeah.
There was also the guy who jumped
jumped over the rail.
over the theater like rail.
Oh, Jeff.
Well, okay, FNAF wasn't that bad. It was really
It
dumb.
almost made my
No,
list.
actually,
It was like
I
maybe
hated
2
that.
down.
No, I hated that.
Oh, there was that weirdo. Yeah.
She tried to
Oh,
talk
yeah, I
to
forgot
us,
about
and then
that.
She was also like.
She went to a movie by
Yeah,
herself
baby.
and purposely bought
baby.
tickets next to a group of people.
There was like
Touch-
10 seats
yeah.
next to her too.
And it was an almost empty theater.
Yeah, it was like us
she,
and like
she
one other
chose
group of
to
people.
sit next to strangers, and she was completely alone.
No, the Flash.
Like
Yeah.
that's he might have been an actual.
No, she was. I think she just wanted to like talk to people, but like she was just kind of awkward.
Also, but it was like a 10:30 at night showing. If I'm going to the movies
Well, that's when the
at
FNAF
10:30
Hold on,
p.m.
now,
That's when the FNAF fans are
I'm
active.
not. That's true. She was not the only weirdo in that theater.
Yeah.
No, everyone in that theater. Was...
Okay, so we're on number 2.
Yeah.
All right, my number 2 is. Or
We already
you?
did number.
No, we didn't. We
No, Sam hit
no.
his 3.
You did 2.
You did 2. You did the
'Cause
Flash.
Now it's my turn
Oh,
to do
what?
2. Yeah. So my number 2, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom.
Wow.
Because okay,
Shit. I did not hate that movie as much.
this
as you did, I don't
movie
think.
is the last word in the
This
DCEU,
last go to the rope being pulled on. Snap.
and this
I
This
can't
movie
believe
was
this is
formed.
both. This made your worst of the year.
this
list, both of
movie
you.
was so stupid. Like it's like he Naruto runs.
Okay.
He did a Naruto run. He ate bugs. Remember the villain?
Look at you. Can,
Remember when his evil
Switch-
plan is to do climate
cameras.
change, but not that much climate
switch
change.
cameras. Aquaman.
I think it's covered up by the.
No, you can see it's on camera.
Just let that poster.
You can see it in real D3D.
Makes you- it
It's
makes
like
you-
lame. Look at that poster.
I mean,
Look how lame that poster
I also
is.
can't. Is he laying?
Who knows?
horizontally next to the ocean surface?
He's underwater.
Remember when the baby?
He's obviously underwater, but he's in
remember,
like a shallow
remember
part of the
when?
ocean.
Remember when Amber heard waterbends pee into Aquaman's face?
Do you remember that?
I think for that,
I remember
think for
because we
that,
saw this movie a week and a half ago.
that scene alone puts it on number 2. No other movie's doing that. What kind of insane person thinks to do that in a movie? Someone thought of that before it like was in the movie. Like I would never even think that. How would you think that?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you think that? Someone thought of that, and then they made a scene where that happens, and then no one cut it out. They left it in. That scene is still in the movie.
Moving on. My number 2. My number 2 worst movie of the year was a movie called Ghosted that came out in, I believe, April on Apple TV Plus.
I remember
It has
hearing about
Chris
this.
Evans and Ana de Armas.
Oh,
in it.
I know. Yeah.
It doesn't feel real. It's a rom-com action movie with 2 leads that have zero chemistry. Like, you want to talk about a movie that feels like it was written by ChatGPT. This is a movie that was almost 100% written by ChatGPT. It's also directed by ChatGPT. It's the most boring looking thing you've ever seen. Every shot, it's this like perfectly square aspect ratio, and these plain looking actors with just like these dull wigs and this bland dialogue just spewing nonsense at each other, and all the framing is like flat comedy shots, and it's all like over blasted with white lighting, and it's just gray.
So it's like if Hayden Christensen's brain was a movie.
It was actually painful to watch, to get through. It was baffling how bad it was. Like, it was just this lifeless piece of trash that feels like a movie that would be made within another movie.
It's like a movie that'd be on the background.
Like, it feels like if you were to make a rom-com, right, about 2 movie stars, like, this would be the movie they're making within the movie.
Yeah, it's a fake
But like
movie.
somehow this is real. It doesn't make any sense. It's so trash. Never look at it in your life.
I wasn't planning. I forgot it even came out.
Max, what is your number
Max,
one
hit us with your number 1 worst
movie of the
Number
year?
one, not as-
Okay, it's
I don't have to say. Can you step down? And there's no more. And they answered my question. They said,
We will
This-
excavate the floor.
this
And put
movie
you in the
was like
grave.
if the this was the throne. Yeah, this was.
it's like if
They
the-
ate Captain Marvel.
It's like-
got kicked in the
it's
stomach.
like if Guardians of the Galaxy had diarrhea, and this is
This
Yeah.
movie makes me honestly a little bit angry that someone can all of these ideas. It's just like at point. That's how bad.
All right. We've also talked a lot about this movie, but I feel like I'm not done. We're not done.
Oh my god.
We're going another round.
This is gonna be an hour of the Flash.
Flash. Oh my god. Has any movie in the history of film ever gone through this much stupid? Has it been filtered? Okay.
When did the production for this?
Like in the 80s. Like, let's say, let me give an example. Let's say, what's another bad DC movie? Aquaman 2. If stupid is a coffee filter, and you filtered it through stupid, and that's the reason why it was dumb, Aquaman went through like 2 or 3 coffee filters.
Yeah,
They used the whole pack on this one. Oh my god, nothing in this movie is good. Okay, that's not true. They're like Ezra Miller is like okay. Everything else is stupid. Every single thing is dumb.
There's one
cameos.
thing I like in this
The
movie.
cameos are stupid. The cameos are awful. They bring Batman back, but he's not even the same. So why they even do that? The script is nonsensical. It's dumb. Superwoman is hot though, so that's okay. And
This movie.
I'm glad that that's half of our criteria
it
for
kinda
film
felt-
criticism.
It kind of felt like a
Is it
Looney
got
Tunes-
hot
the
before this?
cameos
it felt
in
like
this
a Looney
movie,
Tunes parody.
anytime
I think I wrote that in my review.
yeah, anytime there was CGI, it actually turned into a cartoon, like a Looney Tunes. The dog, remember the dog? Why was he a cartoon dog? Why were all the babies? Why were all the babies cartoon babies?
Ezra Miller ran like this. That's how
He did it. He did this move. Remember when he does woo, whoa, what? Remember when he runs like this every single time he runs?
Now hold on now.
Remember when he puts a baby in a microwave?
Now I'm not a track star. I'm not a track star. I'm not a pro football player. I'm not a soccer player. I have never seen.
He doesn't even run like that in the other movies this character's in.
No other Flash.
Why does he do that now?
No other Flash media.
Remember when he had the snack bar on his wrist and it never comes up again and it's just not important at all?
He had a hungry Apple Watch.
He had a Minecraft hunger bar on his arm.
And he had to keep it full.
And he's got to keep it full and he eats one candy bar and he's good for the whole rest of it. So why'd you even say that?
Apparently they did not consult a nutritionist. Because I don't think that would have completely filled it.
Remember when George Clooney's in it?
Yes, I do remember George.
Why?
I believe
Why?
he was in the area where they were filming.
Remember when Batman is like kind of like a little overweight and just like is wearing the dumbest bat suit I've ever seen in a movie?
He makes spaghetti.
Remember when his face is like this in the bat suit because it wasn't the right size and now his face looks like this the whole
Sam is
movie?
squishing his cheeks together.
My God, every single part of this movie was bad. Aside from some of the performances, that's really it. Some of the performances are like fun. Everything else is bad.
Villain. But just covered like rocks. So that may be the dumbest villain concept I've ever seen.
His suit was just like melted. Like, how did that even happen?
Because it was reverse. It wasn't a different. Took the Flash
And glued some rocks to him.
Rocks on it. Are you kidding me?
Remember?
This took 20,
Remember when
30 years of
remember when
production.
his weapon is like a blade and it's just a piece of shrapnel stuck in his arm, but it's like so powerful that he's like stabbing Kryptonians with it, even though it really should just be ripping his arm off.
You know what he could have pulled it out.
He can vibrate through stuff.
He would've been fine.
He could have just vibrated his arm and just whoop, taken that right out.
When he was fully covered, they would have all just fell off of him.
Yep.
And he would have healed him probably about 20. I just like this movie took almost 30, 40.
Technically speaking.
Technically,
That's really the main thing. This is my last thing I'm gonna say about the Flash. Again, no other movie, I think in the history of movies, has ever been developed for so long and gone through so many different iterations and so many different creative teams, some of whom are actually like talented people, and then ended up this bad, this misshapen, this deformed. I don't think it's ever happened before.
imagine.
And I don't think it'll ever happen again.
Imagine.
It would be insane if it does.
Imagine if Gordon Ramsay to cook this, and you were.
I think comparing
Ima-
Andy Muschietti to Gordon
Imagine-
Ramsay.
Imagine if that meal, that craft, took that long. Probably expect. But instead. A boiled rat covered in
A grilled rat.
covered in weeks old marinara sauce. Imagine that. This is what the Flash is.
And like
This is what the Flash is.
they released this.
In theaters.
Like they had the
like,
concepts.
That's the other thing. I know I said I was done, but I guess
That was
not.
a
I
lie.
got one more thing. Like no other movie has had so many red flags where they're like, "Hey, stop! Hey, stop! Hey, stop! Hey, this isn't working! Hey, stop! Hey, stop doing this! Hey, this movie's a bad idea! Hey, we should really stop making this!" And they just kept going. Oh my God, they just kept going. They never stopped. They were like, "No, it has been ordained by God that this film exists. We have to manifest the destiny of this movie." Like that's the. I'm done. I'm done talking about the Flash.
Was a man going down very fast, and his friends kept saying,
It kept getting
"And then
faster.
a car."
and he went through the car and kept going. He was
Car.
missing legs.
Kept going. Made it to the end. There was nothing.
Just a bloody skateboard.
I think you're all right. I think your long rant summed it up. I just want to say, if you want to hear everything, I mean, we talked about it for about 45 minutes when it came out.
Yeah.
I wrote a 5-paragraph review in my Letterboxd. I think we're good. I think we've said everything that they can.
Yeah,
be
I think we never need to talk about the Flash again.
Now my worst movie of the year is another one that you guys didn't see, so I won't talk about it forever. But it was a movie called Beau is Afraid by our good friend Ari Aster, Sam.
Oh yay!
It was, to start off, it's 3 hours long. It's 3 hours long.
See, if you just told me,
now it's my turn to rant, and it feels like it's 6 hours long. The worst part of it is that it's kind of enjoyable for about 20 minutes, the first 20 minutes. And then it ditches what it was doing and becomes this never-ending, completely plotting nonsense that is obviously the director's like personal therapy. It's a movie where the director works out his mommy issues for 3 hours. That is what it is. And he has obviously really messed up, really weird issues with his mom that he needs to work out. And that is not, I'm not joking. Sam,
goes on in this movie.
Spoiler alert, there's an attic with a big penis monster in it.
Oh.
That is the main character's dad.
Oh, a penis monster.
I will show you the penis monster.
There's a penis monster.
I will show it to you. But it is this, it's this completely, it's this impenetrable bubble of the director's personal weird idiosyncrasy.
Has he considered making hentai? Because that sounds like it fit right in.
It might be next.
A penis monster?
Sam,
that's like hentai 101.
Super strange. It's weirdly perverted. It's so long, and it never goes anywhere. Joaquin Phoenix is doing something. I don't know what it is. He's doing something.
I think he did one.
Might have been in one, but
I don't remember.
It was actually unbearable to get through. And I know there's people out there who love this movie, and when people say they don't like it, they just say you don't get it.
That's my same thing with Midsommar. I won't get into it, but yeah,
I understood it. I understood what he was doing. I don't understand what it was truly about, because only he knows that.
Yeah.
Because it's obviously a thing that it's obviously an issue he has in his life that he needs to professionally get worked out. And I know this sounds insane that I'm saying this, but it's actually true. You don't make that movie and not have weird mental issues with your mom. It was not entertainment. It was personal therapy. It was it's so long. Oh my God, it's so long and it never ends. I swear to God, I was in that theater for 4 days. I hated every second of it. Everyone who worked even the people who were just like working in production design, everyone who supported that movie, who gave that movie $1 or any of their time should be in jail.
You'd be in jail.
I don't care. I will happily go to jail if everyone else who worked on that movie also goes to jail. I should be compensated. I should be compensated financially for viewing.
Anyone who had to see
I supported him in his therapy. I should be paid.
All right, should we move on to high five bet?
Sure, why not?
But yeah, that's the same thing that happened with I just want to talk about.
I know, because I saw it with my friend, and he said that to me after we saw it.
There's a scene in Midsommar where a man is drugged and assaulted by a group of women.
Mm-hmm.
And most people's takeaway, and at the end of the movie, that guy is burned alive.
Yeah.
People's takeaway was like, well, she's processing her feelings. I'm like, dude, she like murdered her boyfriend because she thought he cheated on her, but he was like assaulted. That's insane. I don't know. That's just one very small thing. I have a lot of problems with Midsommar. But yeah, no, I don't like that director. His head is like so far up his butt, it's coming out of his neck hole again.
His first movie, Hereditary, is really, really good. And then his other ones are weird. And I think he got to the point where A24 was willing to give him, like, if you're him, right, and you're obviously a kind of kooky weirdo, right, and someone says, we'll give you $34 million to make this weird thing, you're not going to say no. And they're saying, we'll distribute your 3-hour-long weirdo movie starring an Oscar winner. Like, obviously, you're going to go like, yeah. So I don't I'm glad it got. That's the only thing I'll say two things about Beau is Afraid that I liked. I'm glad it got made because I'm glad that somehow someone's willing to give this guy money for this. And two, I think the first 20 minutes are actually kind of fun. It's the fact that it ditches that whole thing entirely to go in this inane nonsense direction that drags on for the entire life of most animals. That's what it's.
One other plus is that now there's a very good chance he will not ever make another movie.
He will make another. I think he's already working on it.
Well, he shouldn't.
By the way, the original title of Beau is Afraid was Disappointments Boulevard. That's what they should have kept it, because that would have actually been part of my expectations. I would have understood what I was getting going in.
Alrighty, Max, give us your number 5 best. That's not a movie.
Say butt.
He said foot.
Okay, so for my
That was I loved Cocaine Bear.
movie,
I would say it's absolutely not top 5.
but it's a bizarre scenario, and we actually
We were on that story before anyone else.
before.
All right, my number 5 was The Creator.
Okay.
I really, really liked The Creator. I thought it
liked
was
it
really
too.
good. I loved the aesthetic of it. I think all the performances were great.
That little kid.
The kid was so good. Like, for a child actor, holy crap, that was crazy.
Max, hey.
The story is nothing new. Like, they're not breaking any new ground or like telling anything we haven't seen before. But that said, they do it, I think, really well in a very engaging way. That the twist of the movie I actually didn't really see coming. I thought it was very interesting.
Yeah. It's not on my list.
A solid movie all around.
It's not on my list, but I will say Gareth Edwards really, really, unlike Zack Snyder in Rebel Moon, did super, super strong, unique world building in that.
Yeah.
And I think that accompanied with his obvious, like, amazing, like, visual.
Oh my God, this movie's beautiful.
The guy's got great instincts when it comes to visuals. Like, that is 100% true. And the fact that he did it for not a huge budget, and it's not a fresh story, but I think it's a really good retelling of a narrative we've seen a lot before. But yeah, no, I thought it was a really strong. I thought the action was good, and yeah, I think it was a great experience to see in a theater. So
it never really jumped the shark. I was kind of afraid at a couple different parts that it was going to get to a point where you're like, okay, that's just ridiculous. But it never really does that.
Mm-hmm.
It stays, I'm not going to say like on a small scale, but it stays very true to itself. And I really appreciated that.
Okay, well, my number 5 was a movie we saw just the other day. That was The Iron Claw, about the Von Erich family. This is from A24.
Yeah, I was thinking about putting that on there, but I was too recent.
I was concerned about that, but I was like, whatever. I've seen a lot of good movies. I've been shotgunning 2023 movies recently.
Yeah.
And a lot of them have made my way into like the top of the list, so I just was like, whatever. I'll put it in there. I thought this was just a one that was super sad, but just this great meditation on brotherhood and grief and influence and kind of be like weird personal obsession. And it's got all these great performances from actors who are somewhat famous, and then a lot of people who aren't.
Not as much.
I want to say particularly, I don't have their names in front of me, but the person who plays the mom and the person who plays the younger brother, I thought were really good. They're not in it a lot.
Yeah, I kind of wanted a little more from the mom.
She was one of the most interesting parts of the movie to me.
Yeah, and they didn't really focus on her.
I wish they
that much.
focused on her a little more. She has a couple of scenes that kind of help paint the picture of the overall theme of the movie. But they were particularly good. Zac Efron's great as the lead. He has one of the most heartbreaking final scenes of a movie this year.
Yeah, it's like it gets really dark.
Lily James does a good job in a supporting role. Jeremy Allen White, I think he's really good in this. I now fear he'll be typecasted as Angry Man between this and The Bear. But, I think
he's so good in this movie.
His evolution or like de-evolution and just kind of spiral into depression and anger, I thought was really, really well illustrated. I just thought this was really, really, really well made and just perfectly done in what the story they were trying to tell.
Just a great character drama.
Yeah. Max, what's your number 4? Okay.
Now,
I didn't even see it. I haven't seen it yet. I do want to see it. I haven't seen it.
on.
It's on
I think.
Prime, I think.
Prime, one of
like
them.
Wes
Yeah, good time. Yeah, I will say Asteroid City didn't make my top 5. It was one of the movies I spent the longest time kind of thinking about after it was done.
Yeah.
I thought, yeah, he packed. I know everyone is kind of. I know people have a lot of really dumb takes on Anderson's whole style and everything. I think a lot of it is like people who are annoyed that the fact that he has like a particular way his movies are.
Yeah, it's
I
like
think our people blow
that's
their
dumb.
blow their emotions on it way out of proportion.
People
It's like
either love it or they.
the guy makes one movie like every 2 years, and it's the only movie like this. Like,
Yeah.
how are you this annoyed? Unless you're watching Wes Anderson movies every
If you
single
don't
week,
like it, just don't go. Just
like,
don't see it.
and you know what you're getting. Like, no, I do think that's a problem with it. I do think he needs to mix it up maybe a little bit, just so that these movies can stand out when they're lined
Yeah.
up next to each other. But I do think the cast of this movie is particularly great. It's got a great ensemble, and the production design of Asteroid City is really particularly good. And I think it's got a lot of rich themes about art and movie making itself that I think are really interesting, and how they're worked into the dueling or like the storylines, because there's multiple layers to the narrative.
Mhm.
I thought that was really good. But yeah, Asteroid City is
Actually,
really
the
strong.
reason
film. She wasn't.
it's never really.
We should next year. We should do our top 5 best, top 5 worst, and then
I don't
rank,
think-
and then rank the movies with the hottest women.
That's like a very 2008 thing to do, and I do not think
No,
that is a good idea.
That would be something Howard Stern would
Yeah,
do.
that is something that I
Yeah.
do not think we should do.
2009.
I think that's actually a bad idea.
They cut back and forth from the story.
Yeah.
Alrighty. My number 4 is Across the Spider-Verse, because even though it was not a whole movie, I still had a great time in the theater. It was such a fun experience. Like getting to revisit these characters, seeing this like movie that was like not really that big of a deal. Like when we first saw it, we were all really big fans of it when it first came out. Like we were the guys telling our
We
friends
actually
like,
saw that in a theater.
yeah, we were the guys who were like, guys, this movie's a sleeper hit. Everyone needs to see this. We're the reason why this movie like popped off.
Yes, Sam. Us,
Not us
single-handedly.
specifically, but like the kind of people that we are the reason why this movie like
It
blew
was
up the way it
people
did.
like us and the Netflix algorithm.
Yes. Yeah, this movie was just like, it was so cool watching all of these characters sort of come back and see their characters like develop in interesting ways, and they're all really well done.
Also,
I don't.
the villain.
The villain is really good, and I think a lot more interesting than the villain from the first one. Kingpin was just kind of a bad guy,
Starter villain.
whereas like this villain is like, oh, this is like they're doing something interesting
Well,
here.
well,
Like he's
here's the
actually got
thing
some
is-
interesting stuff going on.
It's like
Yeah,
You know?
it's really solid. I really liked it. I do wish we got a little bit more of a conclusion just to this part of the movie. It does kind of just like stop dead in its tracks and just like halt.
I mean, think about it. There's some
Yeah, like, which is a little bit like, all right, I would like to have just seen like the movie continue. Like, now I have to wait like 6 years to see the rest of it, which is kind of lame. But like, it was just such a good ride. I enjoyed it so much, and the animation is great. And across Into the Spider-Verse is in large part the reason why animation has gotten so good
Oh, 100%.
in the last couple years.
Why studios have decided that different animation styles are.
Yeah,
worth
like without that movie, we
experimenting
wouldn't
with.
have gotten
No,
Ninja Turtles.
Ninja Turtles, Puss in Boots,
Puss in Boots.
Wish.
Wish kinda.
No, you wouldn't have gotten, or at least none of them would have looked the way they did.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Disney
yeah,
started this.
I gotta give my number 4 spot to Across the Spider Part 1.
Well, my number 4 was a 3-hour movie I actually liked, and that's Killers of the Flower Moon, Martin Scorsese's newest film. I thought, now it can feel its length, but I did think it was a necessary movie, in that I thought the length was integral to displaying complacency in prolonged evil.
The
which is what
gravity of the
whole movie
situation.
is about.
Yeah.
So I do understand that. I thought it's filled with great performances. It's it's Martin Scorsese, so it's expertly well made. All of the money is on screen. I was never bored watching it, which is hard for a movie of this length. I was always invested in what was happening. I thought it was just a really, really interesting movie that I think we'll be talking about for a really long time. Killers of the Flower Moon is my number.
Alrighty.
I think it,
Yeah, I
It's
think
so
it.
good.
I think it could have been trimmed up just a little
Just
bit.
a
There were some scenes that I think went on for a little bit longer than I really cared for. But like generally speaking, it was really good. It didn't make my top 5, but I can it totally could have. Like this
it's
year
not
was
my
so
cup of
stacked.
tea, but
Yeah, this year was so stacked with like great movies.
Yeah.
All right, Max, go ahead and give us your number 3. We come back
Hey,
to
know
you.
what, number 3, I wanna say
Well, -1 particular.
was the only.
I just wanted to make sure everyone knew what we're talking.
Anyways,
I wanted to make sure
Godzilla.
that you were talking about like the original Godzilla from 1958 and
Oh,
like
yeah.
you would get confused.
not eligible.
Godzilla.
Pretty sure Max found out about this movie when we said, "Hey, Max, so you gotta go see
I
Godzilla."
actually think I think
Max went, "There's a Godzilla movie."
yeah, it was really good. It was.
Alrighty, my number 3 goes to The Holdovers,
Okay.
which was just really, really good. It was like it's technically a Christmas movie. We saw it, I think, late November.
Yeah, we saw it about when wide.
So we saw it like right just around when Christmas time was starting up. This movie is another just absolutely great character drama. Like there's so many just very like intimate scenes between the characters where you're just like you really feel like you're there with them in a lot of the scenes. Like it's very immersive in like how it sucks you into like these people's lives and like they all feel so like so tangible. It's just really, really good. And I don't know, there's just a lot of parts that are like personally like we all know a teacher like that. Like we all know that guy. We all know like all those kids that are in the movie, we've all met someone who like is just like that. You really feel like you're like one of the kids going to this school. And like there's a lot of like really deep sadness that a lot of the characters hold about these. I mean, just the premise itself is really sad. Like you're stuck in your boarding school over Christmas. Like that already you're like, "Oh man, this sucks." And then like it's really, I really recommend The Holdovers to anyone who it is a bit of a downer.
I'll forgo my thoughts because it's on my list later.
But yeah, I think it's just a really solid all around movie. It is a bit of a downer. So if you're looking to go like see a happy holiday family Christmas movie, I would probably not recommend this movie for that. But it's just, yeah, it kind of picks up towards the end, but it's just really solid all around. I really recommend it.
Okay, my number 3, and most people will consider this absurdly high. I have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. This is the only movie that made me tear up during the movie.
Okay, that's kind of wild.
There's no way you.
I didn't have a full tear, but I got a little choked up. I thought this was the perfect conclusion to these characters in this story, and I thought the raccoon made me do a tear.
The raccoon made me sad.
The raccoon made me
I
sad.
like all the characters.
Chiefs was a little scary.
Chiefs looks like a.
I think I have made well known on this podcast. I'm a James Gunn fanboy. So I don't think I have to say a lot. All my thoughts are in the review we did, but just I just thought this was great. I thought I bought it on. I loved it so much I bought it on 4K. So
which that might sound like a high, but he buys like every movie on Blu-ray. So
I do buy a lot. So I did. I thought this was a great story and a great character arc for.
It is the perfect conclusion to this series.
That's all I'll say because you guys will get. Max, what's your number 2? Okay.
Which
Bring me the
Spider-Man?
head of
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, the only one that came out.
Wait, no,
this
hold on,
year.
hold on.
There's a lot of Spider-Man.
Hang on, Spider-Man Lotus came out. It could be that. You know about that one?
That should have been. We need to watch that.
We do need to watch.
We should have
that.
watched it last year. We could have put it on our worst list.
Yeah.
Don't.
It's a fan-made movie. It's
By a
really,
racist.
really bad.
Everyone who worked on it turned out to be a big racist.
No good.
All right, anyway, do
Spider-Man's
yours
really good.
talking.
That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I mean we've talked about it a lot.
Yeah.
So, alrighty, my number 2 was Oppenheimer.
Okay.
I don't think this is really a surprise to anyone. This
Real
movie
quick,
was. Mhm.
That was my number 2 as well. So
Oh,
we
all right,
matched up.
sweet, cool.
So yeah, both of our number 2s.
But yeah, this movie was so cool. Like I've never seen a historical like sort of figure tackled with this kind of like overwhelming importance. Like this movie has a gravitas to it that like I don't think I've ever seen a historical kind of movie reach this level of I don't even really know what the word is. It's not hype, but it's like that kind of level of like
Interest.
I guess interest, yeah, but it's an experience that is very unique.
Yeah. I
it's
think because Nolan is known for like his certain quirks.
yeah,
Right? He likes to play with time. He likes this like incessant music, this constant
the music is so insanely good.
moving pace, this giant ensemble cast, and I think this movie was kind of the culmination of all of those things, and they all kind of weave together to create like the ultimate Nolan film.
Yeah,
And the ultimate Nolan film is a really, really,
really good movie.
good film. So I think that's why this works. And I think of all the movies that came out this year, this will be the movie that's most remembered for releasing, like more than anything
just
else.
like
I know there's Barbie and Mario and all
Yeah,
these big blockbusters, but I think in terms of like movies that are like really about something and something we'll be talking about in 5 years, I think it'll be Oppenheimer. I think it's such a smart script, and the way he's able to make it move and constantly feel interesting, and how he's able to balance just this giant cascade of characters across this insane period of time with these immeasurable stakes,
yeah,
and yet to always have it feel very personal for
Oppenheimer,
the
yeah.
protagonist. I think it's just masterful direction. And I think that's why this movie
The
will
way the
last.
whole movie builds to that last line.
Mhm.
I don't think I've ever seen a movie do that kind of thing before, where the entire movie builds to
And
this
it
one
earns it.
spear
Yeah.
point, line of dialogue, and because of how much they focused on this, all these different things that came together to this moment, it hits you like an arrow in the chest. It's like, oh no, this is not a movie. This is real.
Max, Oppenheimer's your number 1, right? Oh, okay.
But yeah, this just like I've never had that kind of experience in a movie theater before, where like that last line hits that hard. That's never happened to me before. It was a crazy
I
experience.
think
It's so
yeah,
good.
It's masterfully made, and obviously it's going to win like 15 Oscars. So to say anything about it, but in March,
In a couple months.
Yeah.
Because they're not as cool as we are.
Yeah, that's a whole other debate. That's a whole other conversation that we could get into.
Hit us with your number 1.
What's number 1, Max? Did you actually write Elden Ring?
Oh, Elden Ring.
It is Elden Ring.
Elden Ring is a video game that came out 2 years ago.
No, it was Oppenheimer.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Oh,
Coming in.
dog time.
Hello, dog.
Oppenheimer. I'll say this. You know, like Napoleon. I didn't care that much. Okay. Anyways, Oppenheimer. It almost felt like an action movie, but like the so good.
It was like an action movie with no action.
It was,
was
3 hours
crazy.
long. Like
No,
you're intrigued.
there was a lot of long movies this year, and this one did not feel its length.
No, it felt like
Yeah.
like an hour. Yeah.
Sam, before you
Alright.
go, your number 1 Godzilla.
My number 1 is Godzilla -1. So this movie kind of came out of nowhere for me, and it might be kind of crazy to see a Godzilla movie on my number 1 spot for 2023. But this movie was so good. the characters in this movie are so well written. The time period that this movie like explores is such an interesting period for the world at large, but like for Japan especially. Like this time period for them was like a deconstruction of their entire cultural ideology and then a reconstruction of a new like way of like perspective of their whole society. Like to explain this period, I can't really do it in this, in this time period we have, but it's very, very crazy how much was going on at this point in time. And this movie explores those ideas so well and with such like it really pulls you into it, especially for people who like aren't super familiar with the history. Like this movie does a great job of kind of explaining the different philosophies that were going on at the time, and then they show you the like the problems that they cause so well, and it's just very, very solid in the kind of the found family that the guy creates and like all this.
Yeah.
And then Godzilla comes in. So like on top of all the stuff I just said, Godzilla shows up. And oh my, okay. This movie is a balancing act that unlike I've never seen anything that balances this type of story so well. Cuz like, okay, let's say they made, because this is a great Godzilla movie. Let's say that it was just about Godzilla. That was exactly what we would have expected. We'd be like, okay, sure. If they did just characters, we'd be like, okay, that movie was great. That's what I expected, sure. The fact that they're able to have this insanely well-written character drama balanced with this crazy monster movie, and it doesn't destroy the character drama, and it doesn't devalue the monster aspect of the movie either. That's crazy. Like, the fact that Godzilla is in the movie doesn't make it stupid.
Yeah.
How? And the fact that, the movie focuses on this big giant monster lizard, and you actually care more about the humans that are going on and what's going on in their lives than the cool action where he's destroying cities. That's crazy. That we've never seen a movie like that. And it was so good. I really, really enjoyed it. I recommend it to anyone who's a fan of monster movies, who just a fan of like almost, I would say like to an extent, historical movies. Not as much, but to an extent, I would say like historical dramas. It's just so good. Every part of it was good. I was not bored for a minute. It was so good. Every scene was great. The ending, I will say, is a little bit cliche. It's not, the ending is a little cliche, but oh my God, I'm so happy they went with the cliche ending. If they went with a non-cliche ending,
I think
it would have crushed me.
Making you care about the characters.
Yeah, it would have. I would have been way too sad. It would have crushed me. I'm so glad they went with it. It was like it's kind of silly, but I'm like, oh my God, thank goodness. Oh, I was so worried you weren't gonna make this ending like the way it. Oh my God. So good. Anyway, you can go ahead and hit him with your number one.
So,
I mean, actually, annihilate.
Godzilla hates this one guy in particular so much.
Screw this one. And then
Yeah, we've never seen a Godzilla who
he just hates that one dude.
inexplicably hates one individual with all of his might.
So you mentioned it earlier, but the my number one movie is The Holdovers. Alexander Payne's The Holdovers. That is my number one. And there's really one primary reason I think it is my number one, and that is more than any other movie I watched this year, this will be the one I revisit most. I think this will be a yearly rewatch for me. I think what he crafted was this wonderful portrait that not only feels its time visually and technically, but also thematically. I feel like he created three extraordinarily interesting characters and was able to craft this. Yeah, three. Dominic Sessa. Yeah. So it's those three, and he's crafted this wonderful narrative about empathy and loss and grief and being stuck in a place and not knowing your way out.
Yeah.
And that's what the whole movie is about. And I think the way he moved those characters along with each other and where they end up and how that movie ends for each of them, I think is earned and works so well. And each one feels so personal. And more than any other character I watched on screen this year, these all three felt like real people.
Yeah, they all felt way more real.
way more like I felt like I knew each one of them
Yeah.
after the movie ended, and I felt like all of their personal journeys said something and were like a lesson you could learn in life. That's what I really loved about this movie.
It
It also has my favorite line and line reading of the whole year. That is, of course, you are penis cancer in human form. And just the way, just Paul Giamatti is so good in this movie. He's going to be nominated for Best Actor. He definitely deserves to be. I think just all the little quirks his character's given, all the little ways he feels, and he's right that life has beaten him down, that he feels defeated. And the way you move with this character, not to move past that, but to learn to keep moving forward in life despite those things, that's what the story's about. And I think that'll stick with me for a long time. And it'll be a movie I revisit every year.
I think in a lot of ways that movie is like a modern Christmas Carol. Not because of like it's like it follows the same story beats, but because of like the type of story it tells in the time period that the story is being told. It is so relevant that I could absolutely see it becoming like a cultural a cultural pillar like going forward.
It's not about a bad man learning to be good. It's about a man who's given up learning to try again.
Yeah, it's a very solid movie.
And it's about that in three different ways through the three main characters.
Yeah.
I think that it was so masterfully done. I think it's a perfect movie. I think couldn't make that movie better. And that it's just, it feels like a warm hug.
Yeah.
Like it was just so enjoyable. And I saw it. I went to Walmart today and they had it on DVD and not Blu-ray. So I will buy it. I'll buy it on Blu-ray on Amazon.
Whenever it comes out.
But I will definitely make a conscious choice to own it and watch it every year.
That movie is the like penultimate bittersweet Christmas movie.
And I love Christmas movies. And they don't make them anymore. So nice to get them.
Especially this one that is this good.
Yes.
Alrighty. Well, with that said,
my favorite movie of all time is A Christmas.
Do we have
That's all I have.
Do we have anything? I think that's pretty much it for the Happy New Year.
Oh, I just want to say, if you have any other movies you really enjoyed, I just want to shout out a couple. May, December. These are movies that almost made.
Oh, these are honorable mentions.
Yeah. May, December. Todd Hayden's movie was really, really good. Really, really interesting. Spider-Verse almost made my list. Air. I know. Okay, Air kind of became looped in with all of these other product movies.
Yeah.
That came out after it, but that movie is really. I think
it's so much better than the other ones.
It's so much better, and it's obviously not about the product in the same way the other ones are, where it's about, that whole movie is about the people who made the product, while I feel like the other ones were mostly just about the product. So I think Air is actually really good, and I think a lot of people just kind of crapped on it for being a movie about Michael Jordan's shoes, and I don't think that's justified. Still, a Michael J. Fox movie was a really, really, really great documentary on Apple TV+. Talk to Me was a great horror movie. Godzilla Minus One almost made my list. The Killer almost made my list.
I do want to also honorable mention
Blackberry and Theater Camp were both movies that came out that no one saw that were really good.
I only have like one other movie that I was thinking about adding, but I decided not to. But I think Miyazaki's new movie, The Boy and the Heron, which I think you guys weren't as big of a fan of, but I thought it was really interesting. I really like some of the themes that they explore, and I think as a sort of personal message from Miyazaki, it is a very interesting movie.
It would work really good as his final film.
It would work really good as his final
Too bad
film.
It's not.
It probably won't be. He says it is. It definitely won't be because it never is.
Yeah.
But if you I think a lot of people are going to be confused as to what the movie is like really about. And at the end of the day, it is actually based on a book. I didn't realize this till after I did some research. It's based on a book called The Boy and the Heron, where a boy loses his father and then sort of goes on this imaginary journey with a gray heron, and then eventually learns to process his grief, which I think under that framework, it kind of makes it a lot easier to understand what is really going on, where this kid is going through this really, really rough time in his life. He's getting bullied at school so much that he's like self-harming to avoid having to go back to school. And then he's just thrust into this crazy situation where his dad is now marrying the sister of his mom, and he's got all kinds of stuff going on. And his dad moved on like that.
He knocked her up fast too, man.
And I'm not done yet.
Oh, sorry.
And he goes on, he meets this like sort of magical, he goes into this magical world, which is a little bit hard to explain. I'm not going to get into like the technicalities of the world, but it leaves you with a lot of questions, like a lot to think about, like kind of what things represented, what things are. And to some degree, it seems like they didn't like fully flesh out some of the concepts. But the more you sort of dive into Miyazaki's life and sort of his sort of the position he's in right now as a person, the movie makes a lot more sense. Like he did a documentary recently where he in an interview.
Yeah, I think he did. I think it was on like Disney Plus or something.
Yeah, he did in an interview. He said like Ghibli is just a name. Like it's just the name of the studio. It doesn't really mean anything to me. We just like came up with it because it sounded cool or something like that. And like he's like, I'm gonna be gone, and if the studio collapses when I'm gone, it's just a name. That's it. And like when you kind of look at the movie through that, like he is very much, at least as I understand it, that old guy in the tower.
Yeah.
He's been building this world for his whole life. That is his life. He's been missing. He wasn't there for his family.
Mm-hmm.
He was gone. And he wants to pass it on, but he can't find the right person. And at the end of the day, he doesn't really find the right person.
Shouldn't be passed
and that world does end up collapsing. But the world is okay. The world moves on. That kid has processed his grief. He's learned to sort of accept the trauma in his new life. He's like, once you view it through that lens, I think I appreciated it a lot more. But that's it, Max. You had a movie you wanted to shout out?
What is that?
Yeah, what is that? Did it come out this year?
Yeah. Not amazing. Not like that.
Wildflower. 2022.
Okay, but you saw it this year.
How was it?
Oh, I think it played at festivals last year and had it
Oh, it
released.
actually
So,
released.
yes,
Okay.
Yeah, no, it was good. So both were. I like the not.
Mm-hmm.
I think I did see a trailer for that actually. Now that he, yeah, they have like mental disability, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so she's like trying to manage the family, like trying to like take care of them almost.
Overall, a really good year for movies, I would say.
Yeah, a lot of
good
big,
stuff.
massive stinkers, but a lot of really
There's
good movies
There's
too.
a lot of stuff that hasn't come out in theaters here yet that I really want to check out. But hopefully 2024 will be just as good.
I like how
highly
big of
doubt
a
it.
fan you are of Elden Ring, but you refuse to watch Game of Thrones, which is like
Didn't he watch
Written
Game
by
of
the
Thrones?
same guy.
Dude, I just don't have. I haven't watched
I mean, it's a long show.
you watched Wild, whatever that was.
That's an hour and a
That's an
half.
hour and a half.
Yeah, but
Game of Thrones is
you
8 seasons
definitely
of
wa-
television.
Hang on,
Watched Game of
hang
Thrones,
on.
so I said when we watched it together.
Hang on, you definitely watched it while you were doing something like playing a game or
No, it
something.
wasn't.
Okay, well then that's weird.
Sometimes I'll just be in bed. Watch.
Yeah, I have not watched a lot of.
Oh yeah, I did finish What If. I could talk
However,
about.
I played it. No, we're good. I
Yeah,
think
we
done.
we've gone for a
we'll
long
be
time.
back.
The other show I've watched was
Yeah.
We'll be
Oh,
back
that show
next
was
week.
So good. You haven't seen Attack on Titan?
Okay. Yes.
Watch
Honorable
that.
mention because
Oh my
it did end
God.
this year.
No.
That is the best show that's ever been made.
That is my favorite show ever. That is the best.
It's like no better show exists. I don't know if you can make a better show.
Name a better.
Blues Clues.
Clues. Let's go suck.
Alrighty.
All
Anyway,
right, we'll be back next week to do a preview of all of the movies and games and shows coming
up
out
this
in
year, and we're going to be
2024.
catching up on the news because we're behind by like 3
Oh
weeks.
my
now.
gosh, so much has happened. Also, there's a movie that comes out this week. We might see. I might make them see it.
What
and then we'll
movie?
Watch it. Well, yay! All right, bye.
Bye. Happy New Year.